Hey, everybody, welcome back to episode number 3 of My Unsolicited Opinion podcast. Glad to have you. We have a great show coming up for you today. But before we get into that, ladies, how we been doing?
Great.
Girl, I've been good working,
I'm telling
working,
you,
working.
I love it. I love it. I am really finding myself struggling with balancing so many different things right now. I had worked the entire day today, but hey, that's what women do, right? We work, we make time for what's important, raise the kids,
Girl,
cook,
raise kids,
Yes.
cook, clean, work.
clean,
All of
all
that. All of that. Take
squeezing
care.
extra hours out
Yes.
of the day and
Making
borrowing
time for
from sleep
everyone.
when we don't have any more. So,
Well, I slept in
um,
today, so
Congratulations.
oh, I'm
right.
jealous.
I got a chance to sleep to 6 o'clock this morning. So
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a late start, right? That's a late start for you, right?
I got me a little extra time in.
That is so funny to me. No, okay. Well, your 6 o'clock is way too early for me. I don't get up till like 8 normally, but I'll be getting up at 5 tomorrow morning. Full day, rolling right into the weekend. I'm
Yeah,
action packed, so it's all good. We do what we love for our careers and for the kids, so
I
Yes.
know
it's
that's right.
okay.
I
All
know that's right.
right. So, what we talking about today?
Oh man, we have a good one, y'all. We are ready. We have to address this situation.
Yeah, so definitely got to address the situation. We got let's see who we have in the chat so far. We got Randy K. She is in the chat. She says, "Hello, beautiful ladies. Hey Randy, how you
Hey,
doing?
Randy.
Thank you for coming through.
Yes. Am I
Appreciate
here?
that. I
My baby
appreciate
girl.
that checking us out. There she go.
Yeah,
Yes.
we back.
I don't know what I did. A struggle streaming, of course, as usual.
Struggle
Yes,
streaming
so yes, we have
already.
a good one tonight, y'all. They've been talking about this everywhere all day today. So I'm excited for us to get into this topic, y'all. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it's a good topic, and I think it's something that we definitely need to discuss as like a community. Recently, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this man, Jason Whitlock. I believe he's some type of sportscaster, or was, or former, or whatever, maybe still is. And he was on Fox News. We already know where we're going with this, right? You put a black man on Fox News, you already know where it's going, right? So exactly. So, he was on Fox News, and he had, him and Tucker Carlson had their little dialogue discussing what happened in Memphis with Tyree Nichols and his death with the 5 police officers who basically beat him to death. So we're gonna get into this video. We're gonna pull this video up. I feel like we should watch his specific comments on this in its entirety, not stopping it, not stopping for our input. Just watch that through so that everybody can get a little context of what we're talking about here, and then we'll go back, and we'll talk about what Ciara had to say. Ciara was not for it. Okay, so let's get into this video real quick, and we'll just let everybody listen to what he had to say. I took this straight from Jason Whitlock's YouTube channel. So this is not, apparently he stands by these comments. So let's see what he says.
Reach wise decisions. Why would news organizations, they really want to make people enraged. Clearly.
They don't want us focused on reality. Hey, if they want us to devote an hour of coverage to this and weekend coverage of this, and they want to take us to a good place, I would examine the racial element of this, because there is a racial element. And this is a story about young black men and their inability to treat each other in a humane way. Everybody involved in this on the street level was either 24 to 32 years old. Everybody. It was a group of young black men, 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected some or put some black woman in charge of the police force, and we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers. If we want to discuss the breakdown of family that leads to disrespect for authority, that causes you to resist the police and run from the police and not comply with the police because you resist authority at all time because there was no male authority in your home, let's have that discussion. But that's not where they want to take us. They want to take us down the path of saying, you know what, this is Tucker Carlson's fault. This is some random this is Donald Trump's fault. It's not. It's the breakdown of family and the buying in to all these left-wing things that have nothing to do with promoting family.
You've been on this show so many times, and every single time you say something I never would have thought of, including what you just said, and I appreciate it. Jason Whitlock.
Whew. What y'all think? First, your first initial thoughts after hearing, his comments, Joy, tell me, what are you thinking?
Well, I did watch it in its entire context. And then I watched him on another interview a little bit earlier today where he took some additional time and expounded upon the soundbite that has been posted on all of the blogs. And as you mentioned a little bit earlier, Ciara, the singer, did reply. I think that this was an inappropriate place to inject this social commentary about the structure of Black families. While the behaviors that we saw was vastly inexcusable, and he did say that it was an open and shut case, I don't know that if this was the best segue to have such a deep conversation about some of the Black on Black crime and some of the statistics as relates to Black males in our culture.
Okay. I see what you're saying there. So you're saying that, you're saying like this wasn't the time or the place to be talking about the issues that kind of plague our communities, or what he feels like plagues our communities, and that was to be had at a different time. Okay. What about you, NAllen? What's your thoughts? And we can't hear you. We can get it. You unmute. There you go.
Sorry, guys. All right. I think that which I did watch this full interview as well as some other content creators did some, talks on the same subject this morning. Because I do know Jason Whitlock from his days at ESPN and other media jobs he's had in the past, I think that he's saying whatever he needs to say, to fit whatever platform he's on. I don't necessarily believe that he believes what he said, but I think that because of where he was at, he may have felt it necessary to perpetuate that kind of rhetoric. That's what I think, because I've heard him, his story, it kind of shifts a little bit, not necessarily walking it all the way back, but he does he does change his tune a little bit based on who he's speaking to, in my opinion. But I guess we'll all kind of hear some opinions from the chat and from you guys. But that's what I think so far from what I've heard.
Y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you. That man is a mess. And I saw the interview he did earlier with some other content creators, and I guess how he tried to do a follow-up to I guess he wrote an op-ed or did a video follow-up on his YouTube channel to try to expound on his comments. But as a Black man on Fox News, and I think his explanation was something of the sort where you only have so much time to say what you want to say. if you look at this thing in the whole total context, Tucker Carlson wasn't even necessarily pointing out the Black community. He was really pointing out CNN, all the other like media outlets who he feels is trying to incite this, you know, whatever, this racial discord between you know, the races here in America, right? But this man, Jason Whitlock, took it upon himself to go on this platform, okay, and point out an internal issue in our community that had completely nothing to do with these men beating these five police officers beating Tyree Nichols to death. There was nothing to justify that. Nothing that he said in that context of what we just played had anything to do with what happened there. Now, if you want to talk about, you know, but the thing is this man doesn't even know these people. He's making assumptions, right? He's making assumptions. He made assumptions about the chief of police, right? Or the commissioner or the chief, whatever, right? Of Memphis. Made an assumption that she was a single woman. She's not. Right? She's not. She's married, has a daughter, has grandkids. Right? He made an assumption about the men that were involved as if they were fatherless as well. Right? We already know that Tyree Nichols is not. His stepdad has been by his mother's side since day one when it came to this whole thing at every press conference. Right? But it's all these assumptions, and you bring this on to Fox News, and we already know Fox News is this, you know, we're not going to get into politics, but we know where they stand when it comes to issues like this, right? And you bring that for your 2-minute bite, and the thing that you want to put out is that single Black mothers are the cause of this. I don't care how you feel like you've been misinterpreted. I don't care how long you felt like, you know, you didn't get a chance to speak your piece or like really, you know, expounding your points. You took that opportunity that you had, went on national television and said this about single Black mothers. No, it's appalling. It is appalling to me. I don't know. I can't. I don't know.
Y'all think?
I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're saying in the chat. I don't know what they're saying in the chat, but that's just my views. I just feel like, you know, just like Joy said, there's a time and a place, right? There's a time and a place for everything, right? And I feel, you know, like you and Allen, I saw the interviews he did earlier on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he switched his tone up a little bit and you know, try to give, you know, the background, and okay. But that's not what you said, my guy.
That's not what he said. And if you, Randy says, and she's asking, what were your thoughts on Mr. Whitlock on Anton Daines this morning? I did see him on Anton this morning, and I think that, like I said before, I think that wherever he's at, he says what he needs to say to, you know, fit whatever narrative, because Anton was really on his neck before he came on to the channel. He was on him. He was on him. He did. He was on him. So I was like, okay, is this the real guy in the chat? You know, is this really him? You know, I'm like, is he on some type of YouTube tour? Like, what are you doing here? You said this on this, you know, on national television. Now you on YouTube trying to halfway walk it back. Like, what's the real story? How do you really feel? And if you're not going, like, you know, and probably an issue that he may have with single women, single mothers, Black women, that you're gonna have to, you know, answer for things that you said. And the apology needs to be on the same level, you know, as the offense, because you were on Fox saying things like this. Because, like, I just couldn't understand, like, what that had to do with anything. What did that, like, what did single mothers have to do with it? This the police chief, she's married. We don't know the relationship or what, you know. A lot of those guys, the police officers, they had gone to college, you know. So even if they didn't have a dad in their lives, they had like other guys that were role models of some sort to them. So how could we just, you know, where in the world did you like pull single moms out of your back pocket?
Girl,
I was gonna say pocket,
the pocket.
Like, where did that even come from? Especially given the way he was raised and where he grew up.
Okay.
Yes. Who else we got here, y'all? We got King Lemuel, his podcast. He says, hello, y'all. He
Hey,
says,
King.
chat. I missed it. What did he say? We may get a chance to replay it later on, but
Yeah,
keep
we'll
keep
replay it.
watching. Keep watching, guys. We're gonna get to it. And we want to know what you guys think about it. Do you think he was right for the things that he did say, saying that the single mothers were the cause of this situation? Do y'all think that? We're gonna revisit it, guys. But y'all stay here. Y'all get a chance to give your opinions. We're soliciting your opinions. But guys, we want y'all to, keep commenting, giving us your feedback in the chat, guys. Brian Turner, you're back again. Great
Hey,
to have you, my
Brian.
guy. He says good evening, y'all. So y'all, what do y'all think, man? What do y'all think?
Boy, so did you get a chance to see how he expounded on his points maybe earlier today or this week?
I did. I
What
did.
what did you think about his extended explanation?
Well, I do believe that there is a place to have that conversation. And I will say that I did find some of the points that he was trying to make worthy of talking about. I do believe that there is a disproportionate amount of violence as it pertains to young Black men. And I think he pointed out that the age ranges of the men was like 25 to 32 years old. He mentioned, and I just took a few notes here as we did the replay, but he talked about the way that young Black men treat each other. He says they treat each other in an inhumane way, and I'm willing to say that I see it on the news every single day. There is no regard, a little regard or respect for their lives or the lives of others. And I think that, again, it was completely not the right place to talk about that. I don't necessarily know if you there's a place to place blame, but I definitely thought it was a conversation that is worthy of having. Let me ask y'all, do you think that the cause of this is single moms? And when I say this, he did clarify that, this is just a slice of it. And he was speaking on a more macro level when he started speaking about, single Black women are reasons why they run away from the police. He said he wasn't talking about this. It was more of a general statement about why some of the behaviors that we see are what we see.
I feel like sometimes we have to be a little bit more genuine when we start making these broad statements about a whole community or a whole faction of people, right? We say we'll say, oh, it's because the baby mama culture, right? That's the buzzword right now, right? Baby mama culture, and it's the single mothers, and they don't know how to raise boys, and they don't know how to raise men. And I'll say this, right? In my belief, I do feel like a 2-parent home is probably best for a child, like a 2-parent loving home, 2 parents that are about their family, right? Because you can have a 2-parent home and it is a toxic situation for a child, right? We see that every single day, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, for some reason, and I don't know what it is, it's we're trying to point fingers at other people about, or not even like within ourselves, we're pointing fingers across the aisle. Well, it's single mothers or it's absentee fathers. You know what I mean? And mm-hmm. It is all of those things. It's the community. You can say it's the culture. You can say what it is. But the question I always ask, and we have these discussions, is why. If you continue to ask why every time someone tries to make a point, you're gonna get back to the root cause. And a lot of times they don't go deep enough for me. Mm-hmm. Right? You're gonna if you say it's because of single mothers, okay, then why? Why are these mothers single? Okay. And if you say, well, this happened and this happened, then why? Why did those things happen? Right? They want to blame it on, the feminist movement. And I'm not a part of that movement, right? They want to blame it on that in the 70s. They want to blame it on women working when Black women been working since we stepped off the boat. Okay. We have never not worked. in this society, in this America, right? So you want to blame it on this, but you're never asking why. You're never getting to the root cause. You're just addressing the symptoms, like Dr. Allen, gets it up here. You're just addressing the symptoms, and you're not getting to the root cause. And if we continue to address the symptoms the way that we are, we're never going to cure whatever it is that's plaguing this community. And it's just sad, and listen, I saw his interview with Anton, right? And Anton had a big energy for him, right? And then he got up there, and they had their discussion, which I thought was a civil discourse. It ended up being a civil discourse, which I would like to hear, because I want to hear what this man is thinking. But for someone who was raised by a single mother, right? I'm looking at this man raised by a single mother, and how, you turned out, whether she's proud of you or not. Why would you make these generalities? Like, why are you making these blanket statements on national television? It just doesn't make sense to me. We need to address the root cause of what is plaguing our community. And it's not just, single mothers. It's not just absentee fathers. It's not just the music. It's not just this. It is a myriad of things. And that wasn't the time or place to get on there to really disparage Black women in the community. I mean, I don't know. What they saying in the chat?
I think, Brian Turner, he says he agrees with Jason Whitlock. So you agree, Brian, that single mothers are the cause of the death of Tyree Nichols. And he thinks that we can have a civilized conversation about it.
Yeah.
I think that we all agree that we can have a civilized conversation about it. But I would like to, kind of piggyback on what Ty was saying, where you can't continue to just make these generalized statements. It really kind of gets to a certain point where it's unhealthy, and it's a little bit dangerous, because how you shift the focus of what's happening here from, these men misbehaving, and you turn it to single women. How did single moms?
You say, how did I get in this?
How did it even get there? Like that just blew me away when I heard that. I was like, no, he's just like, he's shucking and jiving for the algorithm. I'm just gonna say it, because like, what did that have to do with anything? What did it have to do with anything? Because if we get down to that, the single moms, then okay, well, the mom was there raising them, doing the best they can. We assume for most of them, most of these single moms out here, I don't think that it's just a whole lot of women out here that just want babies and nobody to help raise them and don't want a family. I don't know the stats. I meant to look it up before the show.
They say they
But how can they measure that though? How can you measure the single moms out here? How many of them wanted to be single? Like, I want a baby, I'm gonna leave this dude, or I never had this dude, he tricked me. How can we can't measure that. We can't measure that. So y'all can say whatever y'all want to say about that. Let's move on. Sim says salute and My Unsolicited Opinion and chat family. Sim, he's one of us. Well, he's in the mastermind with us. He may or may not agree with our side of our opinions on the topic, but Sim, let us know. Y'all let us know in the chat what y'all think. We got King Lemuel. He says he just read up on it. This sounds crazy, which is kind of like a little bit, pretty much what I think, what we think about this. It sounds like we're talking about, a man losing his life. We're talking about a group of men in the same race this time who, police officers that were responsible for this. Yeah. The single moms, like, get them off your mind. Can y'all get over the single moms? Y'all can't get over them. You got to just bring them up out of nowhere. Like, well, yeah, it's the single moms. Okay, whatever. King also says, who is he saying was the child of a single mother, and how does he know? Exactly. That is the question, because there's so many rumors out here. We know that Tyree, his stepfather, was with his mother. I think he pretty much raised him as his son, but the police chief, she's married. She has a daughter. She has a child and grandkids. She's married. She has a big ring on her finger when you watch her do when she's talking. So she's married.
It's the assumptions.
Everybody speaking to one another. Sim says this situation seems to have been a person issue and not a community matter. But when they brought in a whole group of people like that were not involved, the single moms, then it became a bigger issue than it was supposed to be in the first place, in my opinion. I don't know if y'all agree or not.
No,
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Well, how do we pronounce this? Is this ornament?
I think that, or maybe it's R Norman.
R in ornament or no?
Okay.
R Norman.
He's
I think
only
that's
right
R
about
Norman.
He's only right about single family households destroying our communities. But men need to address why they are making babies with women they don't want to be with, as well as women picking better. You
Correct.
know, you address both sides of it. And I agree with both. Because
Yes.
these men, they got to be, responsible for their decisions as well as the women. Some of these people were my grandma used to say, be careful of the blood you mix. And I'm gonna just say
Okay.
it, I'm gonna leave it at that. So we got one more comment here. It's from Brian Turner. He says, I believe I can expound a little bit more. I believe Mr. Whitlock wasn't given a chance to expand more. I'll be glad to join the panel whenever ready. When we open up the panel, Brian, we want you to hit the link because we've been hearing this. I don't want to say apology tour today, but because he didn't really technically apologize, but he was on a speaking tour. So he has had an opportunity to continue to speak on what his thoughts were on Fox News.
Well, I want to address that, right? Because, in these spaces, we always hear this other buzzword called accountability, right? Holding people accountable. And clearly, you were wrong, right? Or you don't know. And I heard him say it, right? He said that he was wrong. He misspoke, or not misspoke. He whatever, he misspoke. Let's just say that, right? He said he didn't know if even the officers involved were coming from, single mother households. And clearly we know that Tyree and the police chief, Tyree's mom is not a single mother, and the police chief isn't, right? And so now that you know that, right? Now that you have been aware of it, Anton said, hey, are you gonna apologize? Are you gonna take accountability for what you said? And he says, no, he's not gonna apologize. Now, where's the accountability in that? Right?
Well, I don't believe in fake apologies though.
Well, you ain't
So
gotta do it. You don't have to fake apologize, but you could be accountable.
Well, if it's his opinion, it's his opinion, right? So I think we've gotten to a place in our society where if we disagree, we like, you should apologize. And then it's okay, I apologize, you win. And it's like, okay, we're happy now. I don't believe in that. What I saw when he was on Anton's channel earlier today, I felt like he kind of doubled down on what he said in a very calm, precise ways. He was like, this is what I believe. These are my life experiences. And I said what I said. He said he didn't speak precisely, but the general idea, the ideologies of what he was trying to say, he said again. He repeated it over and over and over again. But I mean, he's not going to apologize.
Well, like I said, I don't necessarily okay, we can okay. I guess the buzzword is understand or know when you are wrong, right? And take accountability for the fact that you misspoke. One thing I didn't think he really took accountability for was there's a lot of people that I guess follow him, watch him, have known him, Natasha said she knew him from ESPN or whatever. There's a lot of people who take what he says for fact. There was a young man that came on Anton's he came up on his show and said that he was just only going off of what this man said. And he was like, yeah, I agree, but I'm just going off of him. And then Anton started to press him and be like, do you know this? Did you know that? Did you know this? And he was like, no, I didn't know. But see, that's what I'm saying. You got to take accountability because regardless if you want to be a role model or not, or you want people to follow you or not, your words, what you say is what you say. So, and people follow that, right? There are some people some people will follow you right off the cliff, right?
Yes,
if you speak a good game. So no, I don't want your fake apology, right? But at least acknowledge, you know what, I was wrong.
But this apology,
Well,
That's
I'm not, I'm wrong. My statements were wrong. She's not this. He's not that. Right. I don't know where I got that from.
Okay,
Right?
about the individual people,
Right.
not
You
the
know what I mean?
idea. Okay.
Yeah, not necessarily, whatever. You can miss me because you're right. Right. I don't, your apology, whatever. I'm not going to feel it until I feel like you actually understood, but understood the gravity of what you said. Right. Because you have people who are taking you for every single word and believing it. They're not going to read your op-ed. I'm sorry. Right. He said he didn't. Right. And they're not gonna some people are not gonna follow up with fact checkers or anything like that. They're just gonna go, and we've seen that time and time again. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, take accountability for the words that you speak, right? And if they're not correct, then go back and correct them. And you can still stand 10 toes down on your single Black women destroying a community thing, right? Because there's a lot of people that's with you on that one. I ain't, right? But come on now.
So I want to clarify something. This term single mom. I think that there is a difference between being a single mom or a single parent and being a single woman. Right? So what is the definition? Is it that we consider someone a single mom if the man isn't in the house? Because the reality of it is, like, I taught middle school. I taught for 5 years, and I've seen all types of familial dynamics. I've had students that they had one, maybe both parents in jail, and they were being raised by grandparents or the auntie. I've seen it all. And there have been quite a few of my boys. I'm thinking specifically of some of my boys that I used to have. While the man did not live in the house, that mom was far from being a single parent. So are we defining being a single parent as the man is nowhere around, like you can't call him on the phone? Or what is that? Because I think that sometimes that we conflate the two. You can be a single woman and not be a single mom, so to speak.
I think so. We do need to kind of define that as well, because you have, like, different, like you said, different dynamics. You have women who were married and divorced. Like, are we throwing all of them in there too? Their kids are now bad as well, and it's their fault, even though their dad is still in their lives. Just the parents are not together. Like, but even in that case, it's still when you have an option to choose, like, okay, is mom at fault or is dad at fault? It's the mom who's at fault. But it's like, dad's not there, so he's just like, gets to get away scot-free. That's just what I wonder about that. Same thing when we define who the single moms are, and whatever the dad's position is, it doesn't matter. He's okay. It's not his fault.
I don't know what are they saying in the chat. What do you guys think? What do you consider a single parent, whether you're a single mom or a single dad? Right? Does it solely mean that the other parent isn't in the household with you? Does it mean that you're not married? What does being a single parent mean to you guys in the chat? Because for me, I think we do use the term a little loosely. I've dated some single dads, right, who haven't seen their kids in 5 years. You know what I mean? So, no, I'm serious about that, right?
They on Instagram for Father's Day, though.
and I'm serious about that, right? This is why I ain't with them. But what I'm saying is, it's like, I feel like we use it loosely because sometimes it's thrown out, and it's always, when we use it, it's always in a particular, like, context, right?
How baby mama context.
It's a baby mama context, and I really feel like this is what Jason was trying. That was the context he was using it in, right? He said, single woman, single mother, but just like Joy said, there's a lot of single mothers who aren't necessarily raising the child by themselves, right? If you get 50-50 custody in the court, those women are saying they're single mothers. Those the dads are saying that they're single dads, right? Does that qualify? But I would think just in this context, the way that he's using it is definitely, a mother raising a child on her own without a father being in the household. And of course, they try to, trivialize that as being somebody's, baby mama, as if the baby mama there's no baby father.
And then the other thing that
Baby
comes
daddy.
along with that connotation in my head, in full disclosure, I am a single woman and I do have one child, and it's the two of us that live together. And the connotation or the imagery that comes to my mind is that it's this young girl with 4 or 5 kids, and they just running around all over the place,
And you
and
can't control them.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
baby and her kids.
yeah,
And she on her
yes.
phone.
So when I hear that, that's why I was like, let's talk about it, because when you say single mom, I do believe that there is some imagery, negative imagery that goes along with that. When it's not, I believe it's probably more often than not the case of the single mom.
So in the chat here, we have Ashley Leanne, and she says, meaning a father or father figure is absent from the household. That's how she's defining a single mom. King says, I think a single mom as a woman raising a child by herself. Okay, okay, and what else did he say? Same for a single dad. So if you're raising the child by yourself, then you're considered a single parent, right? And Ashley says if that person or if that co-parent isn't in the household, then you are a single parent. And then what does realer than real says, being a single parent means you are raising the child alone, making all of the decisions without the help of the other parent or the partner.
That's fair. Okay.
I think what they're saying here is fair, and it's the different ways that people use the term single mom, single dad. But I mean, what are some of the negative connotations that y'all hear when you hear someone say? I mean, when I hear someone say a single dad, I don't necessarily know how much of a negative connotation I get when somebody says a single mom.
No, because we're supposed to be the good girls, right? We're not supposed to be as promiscuous as the boys are, because boys will be boys,
Right.
right? They love chasing a skirt, we're not supposed to be that. And so the idea that you some young girl that's 23 years old and you got 3 kids and 3 baby daddies, like, oh, what's going on with you? And somebody pointed out earlier something I think that's very valid. There is some accountability on both sides. Like, we all need to be far more aware in vetting who these people are that we laying it low and spreading it wide for, because it's very, very clear that there is no bar. We don't care. Neither side.
Right.
I don't think it's fair to just blame the men, because unfortunately, while it's a taboo thing to say boys will be boys, it's a thing. Like, men are men and women are women. Like, I ain't getting into all of that ABC and all that. No.
Right.
Let's, like, the reality of it is, like, we have different things that drive us, and we're supposed to be prim and proper and more reserved and all of the things. So yeah, you do look some type of way when you got a whole lot going on with a whole bunch of different men. Like, I don't care how advanced we claim that we are as a society now. Like, people talking about you, sis.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing I don't like about it is too, when it's you always have a picture in your mind of who this single mother is. It's a baby mama.
Yeah.
And she's of a certain ethnicity as well. She's of a certain age. And it's just unfortunate, because it's so many, people live so many different lives, different ways. And it's just it's really not fair Because when we hear Jason say something like that on that channel, we all have the same image in our head of who he's talking about. And that's not, women have so many reasons why they are single moms. And until we all start, taking accountability for our part in this, men and women, then we're going to keep having this same type of conversation. And it's just, it comes to a certain point where it's just really not fair, because you see us and then you want to, put those labels on us as well when you don't know anyone's particular journey. And it's just not fair, especially with
Yeah.
Jason having been brought up in pretty much a single parent household.
But let me ask y'all a question. And my thing is this. It always kind of rubs me the wrong way, right? Because, I see these spaces, these men's spaces where they say, they're holding people accountable. They're holding both sides accountable and everything like that, right? And then if a woman tries to insert herself in the conversation, the first thing they say is this is men's business, right? You shouldn't even be in, this or whatever. You shouldn't have a voice in this. But I mean, we clearly know that, one of the biggest voices in the men's space is a woman, right? But they'll say that, right? They'll say this is the men. But my thing is this: why are so many men in what I would say, I don't want to say women's business because it's the community's business, but what you're so busy trying to hold women accountable for something, but you're not holding the men accountable for their actions. These men beat this man to death, period, right? Hold them accountable. Hold these 5 men accountable for what they did to this man, right? How they destroyed a family, right?
Yeah, because he has a child, doesn't he?
Say again.
He has a child, doesn't he? He left behind a child, didn't he?
And now this lady, she's a single mom, whether they were married or not.
Right.
Now, with the man gone or
And
widows, they're single now as well.
Exactly. So hold these men who are supposed to be of our community, right? Hold them accountable. Be in the men's business. Like y'all want women to stay out of men's business and stop casting all of these whatever negative images about you. Then hold the men in I say in your community, all in community, but hold those men accountable. And then yes, as women, we need to hold women accountable, right? For you can say, oh, she chose wrong, and she she was a 304, or she did this and she did that. Okay, well, let's take accountability for that, right? Well, let's do that. But when we say, okay, sis, you need to get yourself together, get educated, do this, do that, and then all of a sudden you see a statistic of Black women being, on the rise of as far as not most educated, but I can't quote the statistic, right? Then all of a sudden we get the backlash of, oh, you think you all this and you think you all that, or you too masculine, or you want to lead or whatever. But hold on now, we trying to build these women up. You need to build them up. And then don't get mad when we start saying man, you over here pointing the finger at us. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Listen, y'all. This right, it just makes me upset because this had nothing to do. Not even Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, he was shocked.
He was like, I'm gonna play it again. Because a lot of people just came in, and I'm gonna play the video again so y'all can see exactly what this man said. But Tucker Carlson didn't even bring this up. He brought this up. And Tucker was like, oh, I didn't even think you bring up things I wouldn't even think of. I know you wouldn't think of it, Tucker, because you're not in this community. But this man just brought out the blue. Let me pull it up.
And y'all let us know in the chat if y'all agree with what Jason is saying. Put a 1 in the chat. If y'all agree that the single mothers are at fault for this situation, I'm gonna have to say this entire situation. Y'all let us know. Put a 1 in the chat. If you think like he's a little bit off, that came out of nowhere, that comment was not necessary, give us a 2. But if you agree, put 1. If you disagree, put 2.
All right.
Now, just to set it up, if you all are just coming into the chat, first of all, thank you so much. Welcome. We're talking about some commentary that Jason Whitlock made recently on Fox News in regards to the behavior of the police officers in the Tyree Nichols case. He's made an assessment about the way that he perceives what the core problem might be.
All right, so let me get this. Here we go.
Things on TV and inflame passions. You want people to be reasonable and think things through and reach wise decisions. Why would news organizations, I mean, they really want to make people enraged. Clearly.
They don't.
So I'm stopping it right here because this man is talking about the other media outlets. Okay. Tucker Carlson is on. Why are the media outlets trying to incite, this, I guess, race war or whatever have you, right? He is talking specifically about the media outlets and how they're covering this. And here go your boy.
Clearly.
They don't want us focused on reality. Hey, if they want us to devote an hour of coverage to this and weekend coverage of this, and they want to take us to a good place, I would examine the racial element of this, because there is a racial element. And this is a story about young black men and their inability to treat each other in a humane way. Everybody involved in this on the street level was either 24 to 32 years old. Everybody. It was a group of young black men, 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected or put some black woman in charge of the police force. And we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers. If we want to discuss the breakdown of family that leads to disrespect for authority, that causes you to resist the police and run from the police and not comply with the police because you resist authority at all time, because there was no male authority in your home, let's have that discussion. But that's not where they want to take us. They want to take us down the path of saying, you know what, this is Tucker.
All right, y'all.
What do y'all think? David Carmina, the David Carmina show. He says, hi, ladies, just showing some love. Thank you, David. Thanks for showing up for us tonight. Sim, he says, was he speaking on Tyree Nichols or the officers with his statement? With this, who has a single mom? I'm still not clear. Are y'all
the general
clear?
Statements, when I saw a follow-up interview, he was very clear that the statements were in general. He was just applying it here because this is what was before him. He was speaking more or less that it's chaos in the streets with black men because of single women.
But and see, that brings a point, Joy, because on TV, on national TV, and it ain't just one specific group of people that watches that network, right? It's millions of people that don't look like you and I that watch that network, and he had his little 2-3 whatever minute spiel, right? But then you get on YouTube, and there's a lot of people that watch YouTube, right? But sometimes those same people that's watching that television are not watching YouTube and do not get the whole full context of what this man says, right? Because I haven't seen any article that said, oh, Jason Whitlock follows up his statements on Fox with this op-ed or this YouTube video or this interview he did on YouTube, right? It's only this statement. But there was somebody who did come out and try to speak on behalf of single black mothers, single women, or what have you, and that was Ciara. Ciara came through with her tweet. And
talk about Future Junior.
Right. Shout out to Doug.
We miss you, Doug. We haven't seen you.
Shout out to Doug.
Doug.
And tried to read Ciara her rights. She is single. She was a single mother. She named a child Future Junior. I ain't even gonna lie, that made me laugh. But Ciara did have some comments on it. So I'm gonna bring that up real quick here so y'all can see what she said. And hold on. Let me bring it back. So this is what she said. She said, at Jason Whitlock, as a black man to get on national TV and say something like this is irresponsible. A lot of amazing kids have come from single mothers. For you to also undermine single black women in the midst of this tragedy is so sad. This woman just lost her son. Do better. And I don't know. I mean, how y'all feel about how Ciara was tweet on this or her statements on this? Go ahead, Joy.
I think it's important to highlight that the comments were made to an audience. It's a homogeneous mixture. They are all lockstep in what their thought patterns and beliefs are. So regardless of what he said, I mean, they are all in agreement whether he said it or not. You know, one of the things that I am so often plagued by is constantly fighting this idea that Black people are poor, right? I'm always fighting it, right? And there are just certain stereotypes that they just exist. And some of those stereotypes are more elevated. Those narratives are more elevated than others. And so, was it irresponsible? Yeah, no, I don't know about all that. Because, like I said, he was talking to people that were just like lockstep with what he was thinking. And whether he said it or not, that was what they were gonna believe. She says that there were a lot, and she says lots of families that had what she said was lots.
Hold on, I'll pull it up again for you. Hold on, let me go.
Yeah, so she says a lot of amazing kids have come from single mothers. Sure, absolutely. I absolutely can agree with that. But, you know, the opposite argument can be made too, because this is not what's often highlighted in the media. We are bombarded with stories of coonery and buffoonery, foolishness and nonsense all day, every day. You know, so I mean, you know, I appreciate, you know, her trying to fight back, you know, because she was standing up for Future Junior.
What about you and Allen? What you think about Ciara's comments?
You know, I think with her, it was like a hit dog go holler.
Ooh,
You know,
girl, say it. I'm glad
it
you
kind of,
did.
you know, it hit her. It hit her
Mhm.
like, you know, because even though now she's in a better situation, she was offended by it, which, you know, most women are, because we know who they're talking about when they make these type of comments. But I do agree with her, you know, that a lot of amazing kids have come from single parent households, but that doesn't, like, you know, her saying that doesn't negate the fact that we all understand that, you know, the nuclear family, mom, dad, whatever situation, if it's a healthy situation, that's what's preferred. You know, just because you know, you don't have to follow up with well, you know, single moms, you know, they do a great job. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't change. We still know that in a perfect world, it would be mom and dad in the same household raising the kids together. But, you know, it just doesn't work out like that. And it's still, you know, it's okay. That's not what we're pushing. But if that just so happens to be your situation, then, you know, you have to make lemonade out of the lemons, in my opinion.
I guess that's what's so, like, it's so confusing to me sometimes when, you know, when someone comes out and says has this blanket statement about a, you know, a specific group of people, when we know, we've seen it time and time again, whether, you know, famous people or what not so famous people, right, that there are single mothers who raise, you know, grown men to be men. And a lot of the men that speak about, you know, what it means to be a man, and they speak about, you know, the single mothers and how they have, I guess, you know, I don't even know the word, but how they're like, I guess, this is the word I want to say. What how they're blaming single mothers for whatever the destruction is of the community, right? These single men, it's just like, okay, well, you were raised by a single mother. And I say that, I'm not saying that in a way like, oh, yo, mama Black, so why you talking about Black women? I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying it in a way that you are supposedly the product of what you say is causing destruction, right? But you supposedly are, I guess, a pillar, or supposed to be, you know, a pillar of whatever, you know, of your community. For you to make a blanket statement like that, it's just like, well, you don't even fall.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's hypocrisy, right? For you to make a blanket statement like that is confusing to me, right? And so, you know, Jason, he follows up, he responds to Ciara, and here's the tweet that he responds back, and he says, appreciate the feedback, Ciara, but at some point we are going to have to deal with the negative impact of baby mama culture. It's destructive and unsustainable. Come up out the denial. Denial won't fix the problem. Thanks. And like I said, for someone whose mother, I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail with this man with his mom's wig on, right? He had it like that wig that he has on, that was not photoshopped. That was a wig of his mother that he took off and actually posted it on Twitter, because they be out of control sometimes, right? Posted it. This man his mom was married and got divorced from his dad and ended up being, I guess, what you would call it, a single mother, right? Or however you want to define it, a baby mama or whatever. And you came and you were a product of that. And so I don't understand. Like I said, not in a, your mama black, you black, how can you do? It's in a way of like, that's not the truth. It is not the whole truth. And then why did you pick that time, to address whatever you think your truth is? That's my thing about it.
So I think it's very interesting when we start talking about the dynamics of what helps to make a good product, right? The product being the adult child after the rearing of 18 years. Nobody bats 1,000. Like, you can have the best circumstances.
Yes.
And sometimes these jokers just come out bad. Like, seriously, like,
right.
The genetic makeup of whatever your personality is going to be is what it is. If you have a mom and dad, the Cosby Show, you got a mom, a dad, 5 kids. Denise was the rogue one, right? You're going to always have somebody that's just, they going to be off in their own world no matter what you do. You have things where you have situations where you have identical twins raised in wealthy families, the best of everything. And then you got this one joker, he want to go and be a serial killer or something. Like, it can be, you really, despite a mother's best efforts, a father's best efforts, there is no guarantee how somebody is going to turn out. You have the president of the whole United States of America that has a son that has a drug addiction.
Yeah.
There is, you don't know. you don't know. However, I do think that we have to be cognizant of the situations that we're putting ourselves in that could make a particular group of people more susceptible to some of the disadvantages that society has to offer. When you're talking about males versus females, more often than not, the male is going to be the one that's going to go rogue. The female, she going to kind of go along to get along. She might be a little lazy, a little talking, talk back. But for the most part, she ain't going to do nothing too wild and crazy. When you start having a whole bunch of kids, and when you start, like I said, having to go to 3-4 jobs, and you gonna lose sight of somebody. So the whole nature versus nurture, my position is, there is no guarantee, no matter who you are and what you do.
That's the truth.
No matter what.
That's the truth. What they saying in the chat?
We got Realer Than Real. It says, hit the thumbs up, hit the like for us, guys. And if this is your first time tuning in with us, welcome. Our show is My Unsolicited Opinion, but we are soliciting your comments in the chat, guys. Kings gives us a 2 from earlier. We said, do you agree with Jason? Give us a 1. If you disagree, give us a 2. King says it's a no-go. He's wilding out. He's acting crazy. Sim says, I agree with the inability to treat each other in a inhumane way. Some black woman. Yeah, we're not going to go there. Celeste. Hey, Celeste. Welcome. She says, good evening, ladies and chat. Sim's back again. He says, it sounds like he's saying they are all complicit.
Yes.
All of the moms and the people, everybody
He was
involved?
talking about, because I saw another comment that he made. He's talking about everybody that was involved in that situation.
Yeah, I might have to agree with that. So he blamed the police and Tyree
He
King.
wasn't blaming Tyree.
He wasn't blaming Tyree. He
He was
was just saying, I feel like he was making a general statement, and some of us might feel like it was out of place to make that comment there.
So
He made a general statement saying the baby mama culture.
Yeah, but what
is
I'm saying, he specifically called out the police chief, though. It was like saying that they were supervised by this black woman who's he said that specifically. I can pull that back up.
He placed it right there to make it look like he was
Mhm.
talking about her, which we all know at this point now. That was just not true. This woman is a married woman. She got a family. Her family is intact, according to. All right. So
Right.
David says this is not a single mom thing. And that's pretty much what we were saying. I think we all agree for the most part. This is not, it didn't matter. It's like we had to also, when is a man responsible for himself? Okay. Because when, you're growing up, you're a 5-year-old, you're a 10-year-old. Of course, I'm going to be honest. I know some little 8-year-old boys, can't tell them nothing. And they 8. So at 18, what you going to do with them? You got your son 25 years old. What can a mom do with a 25-year-old son? What could a dad do with him? Because after a certain age, they're not scared. They out here in the world. They have experienced things. They are a man in their own opinion. So what could their moms have done at this point, whether they're single or not? What could they have done to prevent them from doing this?
Mind you, college educated too.
Right. You have been around a whole lot of different groups of people, rich, poor, educated, uneducated. You first generation in your family. Some people have a legacy of graduation. You've met all kind of people at this point, especially if you've been to college. Now you're here and you're working on the police force and you do something like this. It's his mama's fault. What? It's the single mamas. Come on now.
That 5 minutes of his life.
Come on. He did that. That was whoever the decisions that were made at that point was on everybody that was there. If they're saying like this man, there's no man in the household, so this man didn't have any respect for the police. He ran from the police. He had no respect because there's no man in the household. That was on him. Your parents raised you to a certain point, to the best of their ability or whatever cards you are dealt. They do whatever they can or whatever they need to do, what's best for everybody involved. I don't know the situation with them, but at a certain point, a man is responsible for himself. I know at this age, I can't tell no man anything. They don't listen to me.
Right.
Tell them we don't listen. They don't listen to us. So if you, like I said, you have an 8-year-old that won't listen, a 10-year-old, 14, 20, what can a mom tell her 25-year-old son? All right, don't be going out there doing this and that. Don't be having all these babies there.
Don't have no more babies, exactly.
Okay, they telling them all kind of stuff.
After she already feels like she's done her part, she's already like she probably
she raised you
that last night before this incident happened. Right? Think about it. Right? You're looking at 5. They're police officers. They are supposed to be pillars in the community. If I was a single black mother and one of them were my sons, I would be proud. I would feel like, you know what, if I was single, I worked hard to get him through college, right? He made it through college. He did well, right? He played football. Some of them played on a college football team. Some of them were part of like different organizations and things like that, right? So as a single black mother, I'm looking at my 23, 20, whatever. I think one of them 30, one of them whatever. I'm looking at my son, right? And some of them, and most of them have kids, right? So they already have their own family, whether they single dads or not. Most of them already have kids. I'm thinking, oh, I'm proud. My son, my son is a police officer. He's out there protecting and serving, so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden I hear my son just killed someone.
Yeah.
Right.
And then somebody says it's your fault.
And then somebody says, oh, that's my fault. And I'm just sitting here like, well, damn. What more can I do? What more can I do? I've gotten him to this point. So now you want to say it's because of this? No, these men actually kind of defy some of the stereotypes and the odds that come within our community, right? And then they went on to do that. right? And it's crazy. So we're gonna drop the link. What y'all think? We drop the link now. Y'all wanna?
That's the we can. We
Yeah,
can read a few more
I'm gonna go ahead
comments.
and drop the link because we want to hear what you had to say.
What I want to hear, I want to know, because I think someone made a comment about the sisterhood being accountable. I'm not exactly clear on what they mean by that, but I'm going to take an attempt to try to talk about it. I want to know, well, I don't want to know because I already know the answer, but when the guys be in the barbershop, because y'all pretty faithful to your barber, so you probably know the people that come in and out the barbershops. Y'all probably been in the barbershop together for 8-10 years, so you know each other pretty good. When these guys come in year after year, got another baby, and that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, why do you guys remain friends? I feel like that in our society, there used to be a place for shame. And now, if you tell somebody that they're doing something wrong and you blatantly say it, don't shame them. No, people need to be shamed into behaving correctly, like doing the right things. And so I feel like these guys have these alliances, but if we took care of our own communities and friendship circles to put up these guardrails about what's okay and what isn't, I think we might be in a little bit of a better place. And to the women, I've had some sit downs with my friends before and be like, you hoe. You might need to chill out. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to have those type of conversations with people. And I want to know, one, do men have these conversations? And two, if not, why do you continue to befriend people that if you feel that you're like an upstanding guy and a great dad and all the things, why do you not feel the need to extend that same influence onto somebody that you consider a friend that's not doing their part?
Yep. Look like we got somebody in the back here. Who we got? Oh, we got Brian Turner. Come on up.
Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Brian?
God bless you.
Hi.
Y'all look. How y'all doing tonight? Yeah,
Good.
wonderful show. Wonderful show. Y'all look beautiful tonight. Thank y'all for letting me on.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Before I say anything, God bless and much condolences to the family and to the mother of the young man who passed away. I myself was a victim of police brutality just last year at the hands of unfortunately, a black officer. So, I've been there, done that. This story, is just life in life in South Louisiana, But I take pride in the fact that I've learned how to deal with certain situations due to my background and due to who has had a part in raising me. But first, I want to let y'all ladies know that I come up here not to cause any type of argument, but I want you all to understand that this has more to do with what Jason Whitlock was talking about. Like this situation, to me, I don't think Jason Whitlock's background allowed him to properly allocate things. I don't know what Jason Whitlock's background is, but I can tell you from my background, I'm very familiar with the single motherhood crisis, and because it is a crisis, no matter which way we put it, it is a crisis. I think it's affecting the black community in ways that I don't think we even realize. Even black people do come from two-parent households. But before I get to Jason Whitlock, I'm gonna try to tie in what I know to what happened. So, as you all know, I was born in the New Orleans area. Shout out to Nola. Shout out to Nola. Oh yeah, most def. So shout out to New Orleans. I was born in the New Orleans area, born in the West Bank, and I grew up in South Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So New Orleans is a very special place, right? So since 1876, New Orleans has been a democratic city, right? Since 1876, New Orleans had every single year since 1876, New Orleans had a democratic mayor. And since then, right, since about the 1920s, 1930s, New Orleans has been arguably the most dangerous city in America. Why is that? Well, since about 1930, that's when the welfare system came out. New Orleans, since like the 1960s, has been the face of single motherhood in this country. 75% single motherhood, and you can look it up yourself. In fact, it might be higher. I pray God it's not high, but New Orleans is the face of single motherhood, especially in the South. It's a city where there's a lot of projects, a lot of hoods. Same thing in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is also a city dominated by a lot of single motherhood, a lot of single parent households, which is unfortunate. But what I believe Jason Whitlock was trying to get to wasn't necessarily in particular single mothers, but the mentality created by single motherhood. I hope I'm not babbling too much. I hope I'm getting right to the point.
No, but
No,
I
right.
do want to ask you. You know, you said you talked about New Orleans being since what 18? What you say 1860 something? Right,
76.
1876. Since the 1800s, it's been under democratic control, and I think you're trying to attribute that to how the city is turned out. Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay,
and
so
only because. Go ahead.
okay, but you do know the shift of ideology within the Democratic and Republican parties over the early 1900s that formed into what you know today as the Democratic Party. You know, the Democratic Party today does not look like the Democratic Party from 1860 or 1876, right? You do
Heard that
know,
before.
but that's
Oh
fact.
no.
Okay, so that's fact. Okay, so as long as you know it was almost like a flip flop,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Right, but and that is true. But here's the
We
thing:
gotta
even after.
hold on, and I don't mean to cut you off there, Brian, but that's why we gotta before we start to say, oh, it's because of this, we start getting to politics and stuff like that. We gotta understand that there was a flip flop of ideologies when it came, especially during the civil rights era, right? And that what we see today wasn't necessarily what it looked like back then, right? And that like and then when people try to use that how can I say without getting too political, but when you're on the right and they're saying, oh well, we're the party of Lincoln and so on and so forth, but you don't necessarily align up with some of the things that maybe Abraham Lincoln or the people, those type of freedom fighters back then line up with today, you can't necessarily say that. And the same thing for the Democrats, right? I mean, Democrats were one of the reasons, in the civil rights movement, that they were like very, 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 very racist and didn't necessarily wasn't on our side, so to speak. So you gotta let's be factual I'm not saying that you're not being factual, but understand what we're talking about when it comes to the politics. But I like to keep politics out of it. Go
Right,
ahead.
right, right.
And I
And the
just
reason
want to
why,
add something too, because I just looked at the stats. I don't know where you get your statistics from, because I'm from Louisiana too. That 80% sounded real high to me, and on the CDC, they have around 52%. Not saying it's any better, but it's not. I don't see 80%. 80%.
I mean,
It's
hey,
52% of what? In Allen, 52%
Of
what?
single parent households,
Okay.
single moms. It's 80%. That was
Which that
that's
lines
not
up
what
with the divorce rate, so that makes sense.
right. So let's just make a little correction on that part.
But go ahead, Brian, make your point. I'm sorry. Go ahead and land your plane.
so my point is this, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I was wrong on the status. But my point is this: one mentality is permeated throughout not only New Orleans but several cities across the United States. But the point I'm trying to get is this: it may not. The thing is, the reason why Jason Woodlock went towards single motherhood is because it may not, just because someone doesn't come from a single mother household doesn't mean that you grew up in a community full of other young children who are coming from single parent households, correct? And the thing is, for example, where I grew up at, I was one of the few males who came from a two-parent household, and I know exactly how difficult it is when you're the only male in a community full of people who, most of them come from either not just single parent households but Section 8. The point I'm trying to make is this: New Orleans, the cities like New Orleans, are a reflection of what's going on in the Black community, and what we're seeing now is the mentality of basically high emotion, an inability to solve problems without violence. And the point I'm trying to make is this: what Jason Whitlock was trying to get to was single motherhood is not alone isn't the issue, but the mentality it permeates is. You know, a lot of emotional people, both male and female, within the Black community.
So I would say this: why is it that it's it's single mothers, right? Why do we reference the problems of the Black community? The reference point is single mothers, and why don't we say absentee fathers? Why he could have made that same statement and said this is the lack of fathers in the community, right? This is what happens when there aren't any good I'm not saying, and this is not my statements, I'm just saying what he could have said would have referenced that. Why go to, because we're talking about Black men anyway, right? So it kind of, it's a reach, but
I've watched Jason Whitlock's podcast. He goes at Black men a lot who aren't involved fathers, but you also have to remember this.
Today he needed to get it off.
But also, and I don't think Jason Whitlock's a woman hater. I've actually heard Jason Whitlock talk before. He supported several women in politics and athletics. I don't think he's a woman hater, but here's the thing. There are plenty of Black men who are speaking out against absentee fathers. But here's the thing. A lot of Black men who I know don't even have children. I'm in college right now, and most of my classmates, my male classmates, don't even have kids.
How old are you, Jason? I'm sorry.
27.
You're
27.
Okay, and when
go ahead.
I don't understand. Like today, though, like she said, why isn't that the comment, the absentee fathers? Because to continue to.
We're talking about Black men, right?
I personally don't know, and I've been a lot of different places. I don't know very many absentee Black fathers, mainly due to the fact that for the last couple of generations.
Well, hold on, Jason. Now you just gave us a statistic that said that
8 out of 10,
80%, but we fact checked it, but you just said this is how many single mothers are out here. If that means that there are, I don't know how she got it. The only person I know that came here through Immaculate Conception is Jesus, right? So there's somebody on the other side that impregnated this woman.
A lot of women are getting pregnant by the same man.
So it takes two. So like I said, he could have replaced his vernacular, replaced his words with absentee father, kept it on men, because he's a Black man. The men that killed, that beat this man.
And what was your name again, ma'am? So that way I don't just call Miss Ty. Yeah, but the thing is with that. Oh, go ahead. There's a bit of a lag.
Oh, my apologies. He could have kept it there. If you wanted to make that same, you could make that same point, right? He could have kept it there and said there's a lack of men in the home, absentee fathers. We have Black men who don't know necessarily how to control their aggression, who beat to death another Black man. You could have kept it all in the Black man realm. You could have took all the accountability for that, but all of a sudden now you want to bring in Black single mothers, Black single women, and say,
because want to know why he said that? Because you listen to the way those guys talk, you listen to their bravado. Listen to their bravado. You listen to the vernaculars, the way they were handling that gentleman. That's how guys who come from the streets talk. And the majority of guys who come from the streets aren't necessarily coming from good households. Guys who come from the streets, guys who come from Section 8, they're growing up with just them and their mom. That's pretty much
growing up without fathers, is what you're saying. They're growing up
with ma'am.
Fathers, right? But they're growing
their
up
fathers are probably in prison,
right? Or
and their mother's probably one of many women pregnant by the same guy.
Exactly, right? So they probably the fathers is probably want to make these blanket statements. They're probably locked up, probably dead, probably off doing whatever, however have you or whatever, right? So instead of saying absentee father, put it on the person that was there, right? Put it on the group of people who stuck around to try to raise these kids to the best of their abilities, and not all of them are good, okay? I've seen some real crazy baby mothers out here, right? I didn't see them, right? But I didn't see some real good ones too, right? But instead of keeping the focus on what he identifies as a black man and taking accountability for whatever is going on, he shifts it and uses the single black woman as a scapegoat.
I don't think he used black women as a scapegoat. I
Come
think he's
on now,
pointing out an
Brian.
issue.
Come on, he
I don't
said
think he
it.
used them as a
He said this
scapegoat.
is this is what happens when you have a single
Because,
black
for
woman.
example, can I give you an example?
Go ahead.
You know that little ribbing thing that kids do a lot? That little ribbing thing, how they make fun of each other's shoes and stuff like that? Or even, you ever notice how young men always do their little, you ever notice how a lot of young,
like
okay, like for
dozens.
example, like for example, oh man, look at your shoes. You hear me? Look,
Okay.
that comes from, you know where that came from? And I actually researched it. I'll be happy to share you a video. That came from little girls. That came from little girl. Typically, young girls when they like a little boy, they might tease him and pick with him. You know.
Hold on, come on now, bro.
What they got to do
So,
with it?
All right.
what I'm trying to say is a lot of black culture comes from young men who grew up in single parent house. A lot of fashion came from a lot of male fashion nowadays. A lot of male ways
What
in
does
the
that have
black.
to do with what
It sounds
we
like the
were talking about?
Boondocks.
This is like what does that
Nah,
have
it's
to
the
do
truth.
with it?
That's exactly what.
You know,
That has nothing to do
Brian,
with it.
I respect you. I
And
know
boys
you.
are making jokes on boys all day long. I see girls
Yeah,
on the sideline
but
listening to them go back and forth with the ribbon, the joning, what you call it, the dozens, checking. That's what we say in Lake Providence. We checking them. Like that has nothing to do with that. And
it's more to do with than you
my
probably
question
think it
is,
does.
when these men keep having these babies with these women because they play an equal role in it, why aren't we saying anything about them being a little bit more responsible?
We
Because
do
it's
all
like,
the
okay, and
time.
then hold on, and then I was watching something, I think it was Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. It's like
Yes.
this man doesn't want to see, his family struggling. He doesn't want to see his kids hungry. So he leaves. And then what? They're still hungry. The kids
Yeah,
still at home, the mom's still at home. They still have to take care of themselves. But because he doesn't feel like a man, or because he can't stand to see his family, in this situation, he just leaves his family. It's like I just closed my eyes to it and now it's over. But the women and the kids are still there. And then for y'all to turn around and say, for this man to turn around and make a statement like it's the single mama's fault. It's like, is that okay?
it may
Do
not
you
be
think
her
that, do you
fault
think
of
that
him
was okay?
leaving, but I said it once and I said it again. I advise people, men and women, to be very careful who they have children with. I advise people to the vetting process with the vetting process.
Do you think that people change? Do you think that
Sometimes,
people change? Because you can meet someone as this person, and things happen. You make more money, or y'all have kids, y'all get married. Do you think that people change? And do you think that it could be the men or the women
sometimes,
that change?
of course.
Okay, so when these things don't work out, could it be anybody's fault when these things happen?
Sure.
So that's what we're asking. Why do we go straight to the single moms all the time?
Well, for one, we have the highest single mother rate in the country, and not only just that,
Is it
like I
because the
said
men
before,
aren't
a lot
marrying
of
the women? Could it be because they may not be
no,
marrying
I
them?
think a lot of black men want to be married, but I don't think there's a marriage mentality in the black community right now. Now, we can go back and forth all night about where it's coming from, and don't get me wrong, I've met black men who don't want to get married. I've met black women who don't want to get married, but the primary issue I think we're having is the fact that we have a culture that's been socialized. It's a very anti-family culture that's really been created. It's really turned into a very overly emotional culture.
And you say
Even
that's
those of us who don't come from, even though those of us who don't come from single parent households, being around so many people who are from single parent households, being around people who are from that sort of background, it turns into a collection of very emotional people.
Whose fault is that, Brian? Whose fault? Who are you pointing the finger at for this emotional, degenerate, African American hip hop, whatever? Who are you saying?
I blame Nick Cannon.
Who are you saying is that fault? Because
I blame the entire black community.
Okay. So I heard you say it, and I know you agree with Jason, but you keep saying single single mothers, but you have yet to say absentee fathers. Now you referenced it, so I'm I'm not trying to be disingenuous, but a lot of times when you speak about this, about the community, you saying they grew up about in a single mother household, versus saying they grew up without their fathers in the house, or they grew up with an absentee father or something like that, right? So it's these women cannot have babies without the men. They can't, right?
Right.
We're saying men
But
are the
the
leaders.
type of men a lot of women are having children by aren't really qualified to be fathers, and
Okay, but then
we can't ignore
that's
that.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, where we need to hold ourselves accountable. Y'all even say it now. Black women out here, we're too promiscuous, we're too this or whatever. Get it together, right? That's what y'all said, right?
Perhaps.
We haven't babies out of wedlock, this and all this other stuff, right? And so when black women start trying to empower themselves to do more than just lay down, bust it wide open, and bring it back, like Joy said, right? And we start to do more and look at other things and start to pick better and start rejecting some of these men, right? I'm not saying you, Brian, because I know you a good brother, and I know you.
I'm okay.
I know you're a veteran. You serve this country, and I appreciate you. Salute, right? So I ain't talking about you specifically, but when we start to have some standards about ourselves, we get chastised, right? But what I'm saying is, as a black man, instead of saying, you know what, it's that black single mother's fault, where do black men say, you know what? No, that's my son. Let me go police him up. That's my son. I need to take him. I'm gonna take him and turn him into a man. Okay. Now that's my problem.
What was your name again, ma'am?
I got the easiest name.
Miss Todd. Yeah, I'm not good with my soldiers. When I played ball, I was bad with names too. Like I was horrible with that.
Name. It's only 2 letters.
That's my brother. That's actually my older brother's name. My brother's name is Ty.
All right.
So can I? But there's one thing you keep skipping over that I think. Okay. A lot of black men don't have any kids. A lot of black men are. The black community is not a. A lot of black folks are single.
Okay, so who are these black single women having kids by, Brian?
A lot of them having kids by the same people. And here's my proof. I have friends and family right now who are women who I love very dearly.
They got the same.
They have children by they have children by God. A lot of them have children by. There'll be one guy in the neighborhood who has children by.
So where does
a lot of different women
say to that one guy in the neighborhood, no,
don't get no more kids around here.
Don't have no more kids. You're wrong.
Wrap it up.
Wonder why I tell them to stop?
Yeah.
Why
I can tell them to stop all I want, but the thing is, if the women keep brushing, I can't. Guess what? I can tell them to stop. Which, generally speaking, I'm sure all of you will. I'm sure none of you will tell your girlfriend stop having kids.
I would.
Oh, yes, we will.
My thing is this: I have no problem giving constructive criticism. But at the end of the day, I can tell a man all he wants to stop if the one, just like my brother had the same issue. God bless my older brother. God bless my older brother. I can tell him to stop all I want until his baby mama, until she stops having children by him. The cycle will never end.
Oh, because he ain't doing anything. She just.
No, he's doing better now. But
you could be like, look,
he's doing better now.
Don't have no more kids. I'm telling you. Stop putting
all this black. The thing is, guys who ain't shit, not like my brother, but guys who ain't shit. Unfortunately, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of females type.
Here's the thing: you're a man, and you're sitting here. Saying,
and part of my friend, I'm trying to keep it PG.
You a man, and you're saying even though you talk to this other man, right, and he ain't listening to you. He ain't listening to you. Right? You a grown man, it's man to man, that's bro to bro, that's my brother, that's your blood, I get it. And you say, look, brother, you got to stop having kids, right? And he like, whatever, and he go back and have more, right? You a whole man, and he can't even listen to you. And he's not even listening to you. Another brother.
Yeah. And at the same time, the woman's got to stop. If a man forces a woman to have a child, he goes to prison. That's
not what she's saying. What she's basically alluding to, if you're suggesting that you as the man, the friend, the bro, have no influence over this grown man, what you think little
Absolutely, I
old me
don't.
supposed to do?
What I can only give him the knowledge. I can teach a kid to swing. I can teach a kid to shoot. I can teach a kid to. I can teach a kid to throw a football all day. If he doesn't listen to what I'm telling him to do, he's gonna make the same mistakes
What
all day.
grown men
Come on,
supposed to do
man.
with their mamas?
Right.
What was
If
that? Can you repeat the
you, the
question?
big man, can't make, hey, stop doing this, don't do that. If you don't have the magical power to do that, then why is it that we're supposed to?
It all begins with trying to cut out this toxic culture we got. The minute we as a culture say, "Hey, this isn't right," the minute we as a culture say, "Hey, this mentality," like for example, I was getting my hair cut today, and I was around a bunch of my friends today. The minute we as a culture come together and we say, "Hey, this isn't right," "Hey, we aren't gonna deal these type of men, we ain't gonna deal these type of women," then things change.
So
I could tell people to.
who are the leaders of the culture? Who are the leaders of this community, of the
The
Black
women
community?
are
No.
What?
Who is supposed to be the
the
leaders of this community?
the men are supposed to be the leaders of any
Okay,
community.
so that's all I need y'all to do is be the leaders.
I
I'm
mean, me
with it.
personally,
I'm
I'm
with
my
it.
own,
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, Brian.
All
Sometimes
right.
okay, we'll wrap it up. But sometimes we say, "Oh, but I'm gonna let them do them," because I'm a focus on me. But I think that's one thing we lost in this community, where it was a village. It took a village to raise a child, right? And thankfully, I'm a zennial. I'm in between, millennials and Generation X. So I still drank water out the water hose growing up, right? And my parents' friends still had a little bit of authority over me. So if they saw me doing wrong, my sister, my brother, or whatever doing wrong, they would yank me up and then bring me into my parents and say, "This is what she did," right? And then my parents would handle that. All I'm saying is this: if you cannot say you cannot say, "Oh, it's the single mother's fault," without referencing the absentee. And sometimes we just need to realize it's all of us. It takes all of us. And if men are supposed to be the leaders of this community, then they need to lead. I'm not saying that they aren't the leaders. I'm not saying that they aren't trying to lead. There's a lot of good men out here that's trying to do their thing, but you got to take accountability. You can't just scapegoat and throw it off on them. On us.
I'm accountable for all actions that I myself do and the actions of those who will listen. Unfortunately, if I if others would listen to the words of those who are wise, then I think all of us be wise. But the problem is this: there's been so much damage, whether you can say it's from one side or the other, that unfortunately, I think the only way this problem can be solved is if we just tear it down and start all over.
I don't even know what that means.
I
But...
think
No.
that's a good stopping point. I think that's a good stopping point. We gotta get back
all
to
right.
it. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
What they saying in the chat, NAllen?
Brian, we'd like to see you again.
Y'all done
Okay.
went
Thank you
off.
for coming up.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you. Who?
We got Sim. Sim says, "Do you have the same smoke for the sisterhood?" Is the question.
Yep.
Sim, the link is in the chat, Sim, if you would like to come up and discuss. We
I
have the
do.
same smoke.
I absolutely
Whoever is
do.
at fault.
Joy, you
Yeah.
got the same smoke?
That's
Yeah, absolutely.
you come here to get both.
Absolutely.
You gonna get both sides of it here.
Yeah.
Anybody can get it. Y'all heard that phrase?
He had
Anybody
a
can
great
get it.
point. Like, we
Anybody
do
can
have
get
to
it.
stop having babies by these men that you see. You jumping in line to be the fifth baby mama. What's wrong with you?
That's just
What is your problem?
Yes. Dave said it is not my business. I don't know what we were talking about when David said that.
When I mentioned that men need to say something to each other, then you check each other. He's like, that ain't my business.
Oh,
That's that mentality right there.
That's that mentality.
David.
But your business is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. You know what?
Let's
They
try that
quick to check
again.
these women now. Y'all need to check some of y'all.
I don't know
Right.
if David said that.
You so busy telling us what
Oh,
we're not doing
I
and
don't know
what
if he
we
said he
doing
David a
wrong.
grown man. He a
I
man. So
don't know if he
went
said
down.
he agreed with Jason Whitlock or not, but But that's the thing, you can't. I mean, listen, you hit one video by a content creator in the manosphere, you will go down a rabbit hole. And if you didn't have any self-confidence about yourself or self-worth as a Black woman, you would come out that thing like it's all me and nothing but you. And that's just facts.
Yeah.
I think in the Black
Friendsgiving.
culture, we love to double down on being wrong. Like I see it all the time in the shade room. Like it can be something just as clear and plain, one side or the other side, and we love to rush to the side that's wrong and quadruple down on it. It's the weirdest thing to me. But every other community, it seems that they excommunicate people that do wrong in their cultures. We like, nah, like we let it. Let me put you on a t-shirt.
Friendsgiving says, hey ladies, love the channel. Great combo. Thank you so much, Friendsgiving.
Thank you.
Sim says, I believe we grow apart and spend our time in different ways. How many times should you talk to a grown person who doesn't want to change? I mean, that's what I was talking about earlier. These relationships between these men and women, they are complicated. And when things go a certain way and the child ends up, parents are in two different households, you just have to do the best you can. We can't just place the blame. It's not as clear cut as it may seem.
But what though, NAllen, no, this wasn't even this whole thing that happened to this man had nothing to do with relationship between men and women. These were 5 men that they need to take accountability for their own actions. Okay. Yeah. This had and this man, Jason Whitlock, came on national television and made it a gender war or like I said, he tried to use single Black mothers and women as scapegoats for what these 5 Black men did. And that's not like where did you get that from? Where did you get that from? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Because what y'all said, a hit dog holler.
I said a hit dog go holler,
I'm just saying.
Because, it'd be like, oh, they talk about me. But it's like, but why? I have nothing to do with that this time. Not this time. Sim says, we don't need a man because the government is my husband. Y'all.
Oh, he's my Uncle Sam.
I can't do that tonight. Because if we do that tonight,
he's my Uncle Sam.
I'm going off the deep end. David said he's a no kid gang. Sim says, in NAllenRx, the fact checker.
That's right.
Because I'm from Louisiana too. I was like, hold up now.
80%.
80%.
He said it with his chest too.
Together. I'm like, come on now.
But 50% is way too much. He could have made the same, and you could have said this, 50%, and it made the same impact. That's just way too much.
80%. Right? I was like, that can't be right.
80%, girl.
So David says women weaponize the kids to get back at the man. Sometimes they do.
Come on, man.
That's true.
Sometimes they do.
Listen,
we do.
Listen, let me just say this, okay? Yes, there are some women out here, right, that totally, whatever. They crazy. They weaponize these men. They do all of that. I get it, right? I get it. And I sympathize. But that cannot be the only answer. Every time someone asks you, why aren't you in your, why are you an absentee father? That's the question. Like, why aren't you there? That cannot, because she weaponized it and come on, man. Come on. Because I told y'all before, ain't no way in the world. Ain't nothing in this world going to stop me if I feel like especially if I know I'm in the right, nothing is going to stop me from getting to my child. Nothing is going to keep me from my child unless they're going to have to lock me up or put me 6 feet under. Ain't no amount of money. I'm going to be all over this place to get with to be with my child, period, point blank, whether that's 50% of the time, 25% of the time, 10% of the time, 5% of the time, whatever that is, can't nothing stop me. That's just it. And it ain't no crazy baby daddy either.
And
I definitely don't want to with my child.
Let's be real. Some of these dads, they don't want me to. I'm sorry. I'm moving on.
They don't want them kids.
Friendsgiving says, were these cops from single parent households? We don't know. He just kind of made a statement, and the timing of the statement it felt crazy to me.
And that's the thing. He
And
didn't know
now,
either. He
yeah,
didn't know either. And he made
yeah.
the statement.
Ty, Ty is advocating for the
I
good
am.
mothers. There's
That's
nothing
right.
wrong with it.
That's right.
Lisa, the housewife, she says the dozens. That's what I
Saying the
said.
dozen.
Dozens, roasting, joning, checking. Which y'all say where y'all from? We y'all say
Cracking on and playing the dozens. You I hear
cracking.
people say Jonan sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, see, we here
I
for the
never
jokes
heard.
too.
I guess you rip into somebody. But the
Ribbon.
way
It's like I think it's RIBB. That might be like
ribbon.
ribbing. They're like
Yeah,
that's
ribbon.
New Orleans for sure.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like
That's
something.
New Orleans.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's something different. But this is I mean,
Ribbon.
it
What you
is at
consider
the
me, Ty?
it is at the dog. But okay. But I feel like that's something different. But whatever. I got you.
Realer Than Real says, I think what they're trying to say is men raised by single women act emotionally like a woman. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can
Okay. But
agree with that.
so that causes them to kill people. Okay.
And as grown men, I still say
As
women
grown
can't
men.
tell men what to do. They can't. These boys, after they turn a certain age, nobody can tell them anything. They grown. So Sim says he heard the Sandman coming. Sandman has come and gone.
Shout out to Brian. He came up here. He came up
We
here.
love Brian. Brian always holding us down. Y'all,
Hey,
the
no,
link
shout
is
out to
in the
him.
chat.
The link
It
is
is
in the
pinned
chat.
to the
Hit it.
top.
We had somebody come up and then
I'm
drop back
sorry.
down.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what happened, but I think it was Ron. Ron, if you out there, come back up. We want to hear what you got to
I'm
say.
sorry, Ron.
We don't have
The
no more
link,
smoke.
yes, no more smoke unless you gonna do it. Sim says, "Oh, cut us some slack. We got them." And here we go. Here we go, David. It is the women who leave.
Leave with what?
Sometimes the women don't have anything to leave from because they never, got a real commitment in the first place.
Leave the
See,
kids?
leave the marriage. They still on
Relationship.
that. Yeah, the
Oh.
relationship. The women are walking out.
And you
Should
know
they
what's so
say?
interesting? This whole time we had this conversation, I never thought about a married person. This entire time,
They single too.
I thought about the entire it never entered my brain about anybody being married.
Being married and
So when you're
divorced.
saying that they're divorcing, that never was a part of my thought process.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
they in a single parent household at that point too.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what. But it goes back, Joy, to what you were saying. How are we defining single parents, right?
Mhm.
Are we defining single? If you have a 50-50 co-parent, are you a single parent or are you just a single woman or a single man, right? Or you know what I mean? So I mean, I guess like I said, we use it so loosely, and it's applied to so many different things. Look at this.
Doug,
Come on, Doug.
Doug is in the building.
Come on, Doug.
Come on
54% of Black men have no children. We are doing our part. Okay, and y'all know that y'all are willing to go have these kids in other places too.
Can't be if you got so many, if we got 80% of single mothers out here.
You knew that number was just outrageous. That was the most ridiculous. I mean, hey Brian, you know you my boot boy. Realer Than Real, he did not finish that sentence. I don't know what that was about. Doug, come up. Hit the link, Doug. Come on, come talk to us tonight.
The link is pinned.
65% of women have more than one child. What is that? More than one child by
more than one right.
Baby
oh,
father.
okay, yeah. So there's always a father when there's a child, right? I'm low.
Come on, Captain Obvious, right?
So there's always a man when there's always somebody that contributes to this child, right?
The way Ty's like, let's look at it from the other side sometimes. Let's not just go to mom, because this is your child as well. So let's see.
What did we have to do with what did single Black women have to do with these 5 Black men who killed another Black man? You say single mothers, but what about the absent fathers?
So what about the socioeconomic factor in this? Because again, we talked about the imagery, right? That we made up that, old girl got 3 kids, 3 baby daddies. She's 23 years old. She probably work at the Walmart, whatever. So what about, as we get older and, these men say that, we going to die alone and all of the things. And so, we've been so masculine in the workplace. We making all of the money. How do we feel about the single mothers that are voluntarily going to have babies through third party methods?
Oh, you mean like sperm banks and stuff like that?
We got somebody in the back. He
Yeah.
probably could answer this question.
Well, you can go ahead and bring Doug up, but I'm trying to understand what you mean. How do we?
Yeah. So when we talk about single moms, right? We got this imagery that these kids wild and crazy, and they acting wild and crazy because the lady, she too poor to raise the kids, right? Because she got all these jobs and juggling. So do we think that the same issues are prevalent as we get older and women are more financially stable? Do we still carry on this idea that these wild and crazy kids is because it's a single mom? You can be a single mom and be affluent and voluntarily be a single mom if you've decided to go and have in vitro for whatever reason. Is that wrong?
Is that wrong that she's getting it, like she's going to the sperm bank?
Am I wrong? Are we?
Yeah. I guess you can still be a single mom by choice, if that's what you're saying.
Well, are they considering those type?
Do the same problems come along with it?
I would guess so. I mean, I don't know. I would say that's something for the men to answer, right? You do they feel like the same problems of single parenthood come along with women who intentionally choose? We're talking about women who go, and go to the sperm bank and try to, have kids that way without a co-parent or a spouse or a partner to help them. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I don't necessarily. I would, I tell it, sis, you probably don't want them problems. It got nothing to do with like rowdy kids or, this, you might raise a serial killer. It's got everything to do with like, baby,
we're not going to go that time.
Okay. All right.
Doug, what do you have for us tonight?
I kind of wanted to bring a different perspective because first off, we're never going to come to any kind of agreement on the single mother thing. Jason Whitlock is kind of a scumbag anyway. And so I don't even want to go there because we're never going to come to any kind of consensus on that.
Why you say that, Doug? Why you say why?
Jason Whitlock?
Yeah.
Why is he a scumbag?
He's one of those. So I mean, I do think single motherhood is single motherhood. And that whole thing is an issue in the Black community, but that guy Jason Whitlock says like inflammatory stuff all the time. I mean, just go to YouTube and type in Jason Whitlock, Kobe Bryant, and listen to all the craziness. Jason Whitlock is one of those. And what's about it is Jason Whitlock does the whole Bill Cosby thing where he's kind of made a career off of saying bad things about the Black community, and even the little bit of truth he has. It's piled under all sorts of BS. So I mean, I do think that single motherhood is an issue in the Black community, but in this instance, I think a lot of it was him trying to get likes and trying to be incendiary. So my thing about it is this was 5 Black cops beating a young Black man to death. All right, and we've heard in the past that there needs to be more diversity in the police force because there needs to be more women and people of color on the police force. And apparently that's not the answer when you have 5 Black dudes beating a Black guy to death. So for me, it just points that it's more of a policing culture type of deal instead of the race or gender of the police. What do you think?
I agree. It is. That's why I was really excited. I will say this. Now, don't light me on fire, please. I'm gonna tell you now. I think independently. Okay, the Black Lives Matter thing. I was always very curious to know what it would actually look like if we ended up in a scenario like this where everybody looked the same. I was not confident that they would keep that same energy and Luckily they did. I mean, it looks like, just like how you just didn't diagnose, it's us as a community versus the police in the way that they behave and mistreat people. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because
I was glad to see
there's
that.
this one of the things, ladies, that you're gonna see. So there's this myth that people there's this myth that women are like morally superior beings to men for some reason. And you're going to see, as women get more power, they're going to be doing the same crazy stuff that men have done in positions of power, because it's not the gender of the person, it's the power that they wield. And it's the same thing with people of color. You're going to see, well, and I bring this up because in 2017, the Department of Justice investigated the Baltimore City Police Department, and they had to do a consent decree to make sweeping changes because the Baltimore Police Department was so crazy. 47% of the Baltimore Police Department is black. 27% of them are women. And they were so bad that the Department of Justice had to take that mofo over and make sweeping changes. It's a police culture type of deal. Not, and we always now. Don't get me. It just so happens that the majority of the police are white, but there's just a toxic culture. Because have you seen The Shield, the show?
Yeah.
No, I
They
haven't.
had
I mean,
those guys.
I know of it, I guess.
Those guys were part of that. They had this. What they call that unit? Those 5 black guys were a part of the
Scorpion?
Oh,
Scorpion unit.
Scorpion, yeah.
It's like The Shield, pretty much, I guess, where
Okay.
they thought they could do whatever they wanted. The first thing they did was disband that unit because they know there's probably a history of those guys doing all sorts of craziness. So I just wanted to know, did you ladies, was this shocking to you that it was 5 black guys? Like, does it make it different that they were black guys, or if they would have been white guys, or what?
To me, I mean, it didn't really, because it's the same thing like the black on black crime, the gang violence. I mean, I wasn't really surprised that 5 black dudes did something like that. I was caught off guard when they attributed that to the single mothers. That was the only thing. It was like, of course, it's a sad situation, and I guess to a point we are a little bit desensitized to this type of behavior. It's unfortunate,
Yeah, especially
but
with social
I
media and
just
stuff. You see that craziness all
right.
the time now.
I was just, I just was like, wait, what? What do single mothers have to do with this? Because at the end of the day, like I keep saying, women cannot tell men what to do. And if you're 25, you are responsible for yourself. There are young teenage boys, their mothers cannot tell them what to do. A 6-year-old boy, his mother cannot tell him what to do. So that's the part that caught me off guard. Like I said, it's
Well,
an unfortunate situation, but
I would put.
I wasn't completely surprised.
Let's say we were to concede that single motherhood had an issue. I think that that's way down on the list
Yeah.
compared to toxic police culture. Have you ladies researched at all where they said that maybe that guy was sleeping with one of the guy's baby
Oh,
mamas or
I
something
saw
like
that.
that?
It wasn't
I did.
confirmed, so I don't like to do the rumor
Was that
thing.
true?
But go ahead.
I
I'm
want that
asking
to
you.
be
I don't
verified
know.
by a
I
news
don't know.
source or some sort of independent third party. I
Yeah.
don't want to. Yeah.
I'm asking because I didn't know. But what I'm saying is this just goes to show. Well, and one other thing, there's an HBCU that has a police academy there, and they're trying to train black police officers at this HBCU. And once again, this goes back to, I don't know why we think that people of color or women are gonna not abuse being police officers or become a part of the toxic culture of policing in the United States. Like,
Well, let me ask you a
what are we
question,
thinking
Doug.
here?
Where do you think that culture comes from, or what do you think is cultivating this toxic police culture?
It's been that way, and you have to conform to be able to thrive.
Been that way since when?
Since policing. That police department has that mindset. And for you to be successful in that police department, you see, because there's this myth, especially like women will go into a male-dominated space and be like, you men need to accommodate me as a woman. And some workplaces do it, but a lot don't. It's just like people of color. we think, oh, we're going to go into this all white department, and we're not. Like, you have to conform to what the other police officers do. It's just like the military. There's a military culture, and it's not malleable. You become a soldier. These people, they become police officers. Those guys didn't do anything that I guarantee you other officers, men and women, white and black and Mexican, haven't done before.
No, I agree with you there. I do believe it is the culture as a whole. I do believe exactly what you said, as far as if anyone can join it, and they will have to conform to that culture, or have to like leave, like go, or be kicked out or forced out or whatever have you, right? I guess my question is, where do we get that from, right? Not we, but
When in Rome.
where is that coming from, right? Where is that coming from? And then how does that get misconstrued into, oh, it's the black single mother's fault for the toxic police culture? And I live in Baltimore, by the way, and so I'm very familiar with the police culture here, and everything that happened with Freddie Gray back then. It's right around the corner from me, so I definitely, I'm familiar with what you're saying.
And I see, the connection between toxic police culture and black single motherhood. I mean, I can't go. I have no connection. I'm not even gonna try to. I don't. I can concede that I don't know enough about it. We do have an attorney in the chat. Maybe he can
shout out to the leader.
Elaborate on it. But it's just what I'm saying is there are cultures that aren't malleable, and whether you're black, white, female, male, if the police department's toxic, you're going to become toxic along with it. And just for me, and my idea is the toxicity of police culture. Part of it is one of the fundamentals of public budgeting. Do any of you work for the government in any capacity?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then one of the fundamentals of budgeting is if you don't spend all your money from one year, you don't get it the next year, right?
And so what do they do at the end of the year?
Yeah, policing and prisons are based upon the basic fundamentals of budgeting. You have to have more numbers than last year to be able to get more money.
Exactly.
So that's why they always go for the low hanging fruit. They always arrest the same people over and over. The Baltimore Police Department report, they found that there were orders in certain times of the year where they would instruct officers to go to certain neighborhoods and arrest any black dude with a hoodie on, or they were teaching escalation techniques to their officers to escalate violence, to be able to arrest a person for resisting arrest.
Mm-hmm.
They were arresting people for what were you going to arrest them for? Well, they resisted.
Right.
So it's just to get the numbers. So you're going to, unfortunately, keep your eyes and ears open, ladies, because you're going to see more women in positions of power abusing their power. Because once again, I honestly think in our country, women always want to blame power moves and abuses of power on men. Well, you're going to see ladies in these positions of power doing the same thing. Just wait. And then people of color too. You're going to see these police departments run by black people beating up and killing black dudes. So and this is just unfortunately, prayers to Tyree Nichols' family and stuff, but you're going to see a lot more of this. And don't be surprised if you don't see a group of black women beating a black girl to death. It could happen.
It could definitely happen.
I mean, it's happened.
Police officers.
Well,
okay. Oh yeah, it could definitely happen. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't.
People get drunk on power.
Yeah. I think that's
regardless. People get drunk on power.
Man, woman, black, white.
Especially when you have been probably picked on, in the cafeteria in high school or whatever, and you like.
There's a type for police officers, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a.
Well, I didn't get what he said.
There's a type of person that leans towards law enforcement, right? And we all know that type of person.
But here, well, that's true. I get that. But here's the thing: these men were some. I don't know if all of them, but I know some of them were college educated. Some of them were on the football team. Some of them had families, like children already. these men, I guess, didn't necessarily have a lot of the, I guess, the I got picked on type. I don't know how many people was picking on football players. At least not at my school. You wasn't, because you would get, ran over or whatever. But I guess it's just so hard for me to understand how we got here with the conversation. And you know what, Doug, thank you for coming up, because I completely agree with your assessment that it doesn't matter who it is, they get a little bit of power.
Yeah, because the thing about it is it would be one of the things that pisses me off still is when you see like a white mass. I want to use you like a mass, like a white guy that deletes a bunch of people, and they say we'll never know his motivation. It's like, I mean, he's white. Like, well, what other motivation? If it would have been a bunch of black guys not in uniform, I could see asking questions. But I'm sorry, like police, especially when you get say, guys, we have mob mentality anyway.
Yes, yes,
yes.
Oh my God.
Well, according to Jason Whitlock, you got that from your mama.
Right.
I kind of wanted to be a different perspective, because I do think that single motherhood is a problem in the Black community, but I think that there's so many other issues that cause this. And number one to me is toxic law enforcement culture. And I can say, I'm from Western Washington State. My hometown, our police were fantastic. I don't have I was in a prominently white city, a prominently white high school, and our police officers, shout out to Thurston County and Olympia, Washington PD. They were fantastic growing up. So I've seen good policing, but then you have stuff like this. I'm not saying all cops are bad. I think that the majority of them are decent. I'm not going to say good, but just doing their jobs. But you're going to see more instances like this, and unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of us. A lot of women doing this kind of stuff, and we have to change the toxic police culture. That's what we got to do.
Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, ladies.
Thank you. Come again.
Bye.
Thank you.
Man, if Sim don't hit that link and come on up, hey Jess.
He just like clowning around in the chat talking about these untouchable units. They're gonna be. They said they coming in like SWAT, jumping off your rooftops. Y'all be careful out here in these streets.
I don't know if Doug was in here when we brought up Ciara. I forgot to bring up
Ciara. His girl. Yes.
Doug, I don't know how you feel about Ciara's tweet. But let us know in the chat. We appreciate that. We definitely appreciate that.
Friendsgiving, she says, facts, Doug. Jess, who's also in our mastermind, she says, hi everyone. Let's revisit, let's go back to our little poll we did earlier. That y'all clearly didn't want to participate in. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all thought that there was some validity. Well, I don't want to say validity, because it is some validity in what he said. Just, do y'all think it was like correctly placed with that in that statement? Like, was that the time for that?
Is there a correlation between?
Yeah, is it a correlation? Was that an important statement to make at that time? Put 1 in there. If y'all thought he could have done without the single mom talk, put a 2 in the chat, y'all. Let us know what y'all think. The link is still pinned to the top right time.
Yeah, the link is there. The link is there. But someone had if I could scroll up here, someone has said something directly to me. They added me, so
I think it was David.
Was it David? I thought it was him. One of the two.
Something about the IVF. I don't think we read the comment yet.
Okay, where you at? I don't want to touch it.
It's up there, but I was just scrolling. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
If you see it, go hit it.
Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Was this it? This wasn't it. Hold up. My unsolicited opinion that negates @Ty's position of where's the men if they are using IVF. Okay, that wasn't it. It was something else, but
we can go back to this one. Sim says, who has authority of you all? Like over us? Who's in control of us? Who's in charge of the girls?
God.
Who's in charge of the girls?
Who is in
Yes,
charge of the
yes,
girls?
God.
Who's it?
Why do
Who's
y'all
it?
want so much smoke with us? What is it? What is it? Y'all, we trying to be agreeable, but y'all just want to fight. Gotta fight every night. Y'all hit the like button while
Every
y'all
night I gotta
fighting us.
prove my
They don't
love.
want women to be agreeable.
They don't.
They're
They
not
like a little
interested.
feisty. They do.
A little
Yes.
spice.
So who's in charge of us? No one's in charge of us. But don't worry about it. We're not doing anything anyway. I keep asking people like, well, y'all say women don't listen. What are y'all trying to tell us? We already doing what we need to do. What are you trying to tell us? Not like we just out here wilding. We already in line.
No, they
And
say we wilding because they say it's 52% single black mothers, so that's wild, right? And then like and not that there's a father for every child, right? I don't let's throw that out. But we control the sex, I guess, right? The sexual interactions.
David said that.
So, yeah, that's right. Joy, again, the women control the sex, so we control the sex. So because we control the sex, it's we did this to ourselves, right?
Yeah,
But
and we determine who has a baby, if we have a baby or
I
not.
always say why. My question is, why would a man, not necessarily these men, not these fine young men in our chat, but why would a man sleep with a woman with no intentions of marrying her if he controls the marriage?
And why would the woman sleep with the man knowing he don't have no money to pay her no child support?
That too. So what I'm saying is, you can say this, but there's always something on the other side. It's accountability all around. Right? It is accountability all around. And instead of saying, oh, this side or these men do this, right? Me saying that, or men saying, oh, these women do this, point the fingers back at you. What are you doing? I look at black women, right? I hold black women accountable because I'm a black woman, right? And so it's like, okay, ladies, let's get it together. Let's get information. Let's do what we got to do. And I'm not pointing at black men because, yes, ladies, you don't have to sleep with him. Right? You can tell him no for the most part. And I say for the most part because I know there's some outliers, some exceptions of men, doing too much, right? But you can say, no, I'm good, right? Or if you do, you can wrap it up. There's so many things you can do to get, that we can try to better our position. And I believe that we have. I believe that we're saying, we're not settling for less, but it gets misconstrued on the other side. But that's for them to figure out, right? Let these black men figure out, why are there black men out here impregnating our black women and not marrying them and not taking care of the kids? Because you throw out these stats that 70% of black kids grow up in a single mother household, right?
And of that 70%, 90% belong to Nick Cannon.
I like that. Why are they not holding their brother, Nick Cannon?
Who's now, I think he had an interview where he's saying he regrets the fact that he can't necessarily be in all of his children. Didn't he say something like that? I don't want to misquote the man.
Yeah.
Then they were saying, I'm like, is he high value or what?
I guess, yeah. Well,
they say he's not though, right? Because I mean, at first when he was married to Mariah Carey, I guess, and they had their twins, right, he may have been high value at that point, but now he out here being a pookie. Right?
I guess I don't know.
Calculated. Whatever he's doing, it's calculated, and I think there's a method to his madness. I don't know his health status. I do know he struggles with
lupus.
Thank you. Yeah, and now I don't know if it's something else going on and he feels like he need to leave a big legacy behind, but I get annoyed with the fact that we don't talk about him as bad as we'll talk about Future. Like, it's unacceptable in both scenarios.
Yeah.
And these girls, just like they were saying earlier, they keep signing up for this stupidity.
I guess having a baby by the same dude.
I'll be honest. I didn't necessarily see a difference between the two. I never disassociated the two. I felt like they were out here doing the same thing, impregnating women and them having kids. Well, I would say one thing though, Future is, he be denying some of them. He do. Now Nick Cannon at least say these mine, and I'm a stick beside him. But Future be like, that ain't mine, and then all of a sudden he come the paternity test, and he be like, oh, okay.
If you think Nick Cannon is worse.
Nick, he got way more kids than Future.
Well, not even in the quantity.
Too is what I'm saying. I think they're out here doing the same thing. I'm not saying that what's the name, right?
Not even in the quantity of them, in the manner. He's having like 3 kids a year. Like all these people pregnant at the same time.
Then he got the nerve to be talking about the women and their hygiene. But anyway,
it's wild. It's unacceptable, regardless of the amount of money he has. And I think that we're okay with it as society to be like, oh, Nick's having another kid.
I don't know. I've seen people say like, what are you doing? Like, he is a menace at this point. I don't know. I'm not necessarily okay with it. And but I don't necessarily care how much money you have and you can take care of 10 kids. And that's beautiful, right? But then when we start talking about single mother households and the effects of single mother households and how that has on a child or whatever, then it's just like, okay, well then hold on now.
Talk to him. Ask him about it.
Hold on now. Like, this man is out here creating a bunch of single mothers, a bunch of baby mamas,
but nobody's looking at it like that.
And I don't see too many men saying he's a menace. Stop.
Because they're not, remember the imagery, they're not the poor ghetto girls,
right.
These are higher value women. They light skinned with long hair.
She said it. Just Talk About It says, I'm late to the show. What was the statement?
Girl, it was everything. But just to kind of like sum up where we're talking about, Jason Whitlock, who you seen in his mother's wig on our thumbnail. Like, again, that is a real picture. That is his mother's wig on his head. Had some statements to make in reference to Tyree Nichols and his death by the hands of 5 Black male police officers. He basically said that this is what you get when you have single Black women and single Black mothers in charge of the police department and the community. And it's basically, he's blaming single Black mothers for this, although that was 5 Black men who killed this man. And so we were discussing, just that statement. We played the statement for you. We also discussed Ciara's response to him and then his response back to Ciara. And we're discussing the appropriateness of it. But, my take on it is we're always saying single Black mothers, and that comes with different connotations and the way we picture these women, but we never necessarily talk about absentee fathers in the same way. He could have very well replaced single Black women with absentee father. And still would have got the same effect, but it would have, in my eyes, given a little bit more accountability to himself. But none of it had, but it's personal accountability. Okay, because those 5 Black men, they need to take account. They need to be accountable for the things that they chose to do. And Doug came up and I agree with them. I think it's a toxic police culture. I don't think every cop out there is bad at all, but they all play a role in the culture that led to this man's death. And that's
a badge of honor to be a baby mama. Is it a badge of honor to be a baby mama?
I guess if you Nick Cannon's baby mama.
I don't know. I was thinking about Fantasia's song.
Oh, B-A-B-Y. Hey.
Oh, my baby.
Yeah, she said it's a badge of honor to be a baby mama. So it must be true.
I think she was talking mess.
I guess that was one of those things where you're going to keep calling. I guess how people embrace whatever and try to turn it into something. That's one of those things.
And now she's married.
Yes,
she's been married a couple times though, right?
No, she was not married. That was a situation.
She had like a serious situation.
That man had a whole wife.
Oh, you see, I don't even keep up with Fantasia.
But we in Charlotte, so he had a whole wife.
I ain't even. Oh, she was married. I thought she was married a couple of times. Here
Well,
I
she's
go.
married. Is she married now though? She is
She's
married
married
now.
now. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Fantasia
Yes.
got a little stay. I seen Fantasia in concert, baby. She pull you in.
Yes, she
Okay.
did.
Yeah, I love it. My sexy is strong says Doug came with the facts and the stats. Shout out to him. Doug, Doug, he has become one of our favorites. We look forward to seeing Doug on
Quickly. That's
every
why he got the
episode
wrench.
of
That's
My
why he got the
Unsolicited
wrench.
Podcast. And see a couple of y'all put twos in the chat
They don't agree.
to let us know that y'all thought Jason Whitlock was as Doug says, he was such a clown and he always has been. He was just saying things like to me on I know ESPN, he was gaslighting people. I know we use that word too much, but he
Boy,
was
hate that
it was
word.
like
I
he's
do.
just like, just trying to get everybody all just hyped up and just angry, but it does keep you engaged. And really, to be honest, what he did, it worked because we've been talking about him all day. Ever since that statement came out, that's all any of us could talk about. So it worked, thumbs up, whatever his goal was, it worked, at this time it did. Doug says, make sure to like the video, guys, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get these ladies to 100% engagement.
Please, thank you.
Y'all thought Doug had spoke for us, but Doug, he's on our side.
He was just trying
tonight.
to
Thank you,
Doug. some education, some information on make the chat or make the podcast a little bit more, let them know what's going on out here. So I appreciate Doug. I'm gonna always appreciate him.
Yes. Sil says, Ty, where the man who will lead us? What are you talking about,
the
Sim?
man who will I'm not sure what you're saying there, Sim.
Maybe earlier when you were talking to Doug, you were talking to somebody and you were like, well, who's in charge? And was it not Doug? Who's the other guy? Brian?
Brian, shout out.
Yeah, and I think you alluded to like the men supposed to be leading the situation.
Right, because that's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah, I think that might be what he's talking about.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, like, men are the leaders. I mean, the last stream did not David and did not Tim come up in here and say they are the leaders and we got to get on their program?
Get on their program.
And David, come up tonight. We kind of need to discuss that a little bit. I know that'll be getting us off track, but I still want to know what this program is.
If the men are the leaders, I'm just asking. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. Now I came from a household where the man led, so I'm not new to it. I'm kind of true to it. So so that's what I'm saying. Like I know what leadership looks like. I work around men who lead every single day. So I know what that's supposed to look like. I've seen it toxic and I've seen it at its best. So I'm like, what's leading these 5 men? And you can't blame it on the police chief. I just don't necessarily feel like it is her fault that they killed that man, that black man.
No, y'all can't.
In the military, do you all I guess it's like that classroom, it's that one teacher that everybody know, like, oh God, this lady classroom is a mess, right? Do you find that in the military, if there's female leadership, she is not I don't want to say not respected as much, but maybe people don't take her as seriously, or her authority isn't as highly regarded as maybe some male leaders.
So does that happen? Yes, right. But I would say this, just from my career, and I've been in the military for 17 years. Okay, I've been in leadership roles ever since I entered into the military. What I've know is this. Anyone, male or female, the one thing that's going to gain you any type of respect with anyone is when you know what you're doing. I don't have to yell at someone to get them to follow me, right? There's a time and a place. It's how you apply your leadership. It's different types of leaderships. I don't have to, me personally, I don't have to do that. So I'm not a drill sergeant. My mother was, my father was, matter of fact, my sister was, but I was not. Okay. I don't have to put my hand, I don't have to yell. You just have to know, and that's just anyone, right? You just have to know how to speak to people to get them to do what you want. And it doesn't always come from being this in your face militant person. I don't have to tell you that I'm in charge. You see it on the rank. Right. So you already know what my role is. That's any soldier, right? I don't, if Brian came up here and he said he did 4 years in military and we don't even know each other, but if we sat next to each other, he would know who's supposed to be the leader, right? So there's no reason for me to have to keep telling him I'm the leader. I'm the leader. Mm-hmm. You follow me. Because if Brian got a good idea about something, as a leader, I say, you know what, Brian, that's a good idea. Let's implement it. That's what leaders do. Leaders know how to follow when they need to follow, but they also step up when there's time to step up. And so, like I said, in the military, I've seen leaders who are trash, male and female. No one will listen to them. No one. Right?
So could that be the case in this situation with the police officers? That they may have been behaving badly because her leadership wasn't the best, or
well, I'm gonna say
because she is a girl and they were like, she ain't gonna do that.
Well, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with like police officer, like the hierarchy, anything like that, And I guess she's over the whole city, right? So I mean, I'm pretty sure I would think she's a few levels, there's a few echelons in between, like her, leadership. But in the military, if you're a commander, whatever unit that you're commanding, you take responsibility for. Right. So I know people heard, a lot of stuff that was going on in Fort Hood and one of the, a female soldier ended up kidnapped and killed and whatever. And that went all the way up to the post command team being relieved. Now, did that 3-star general or 3 corps, did he have anything to do with this random soldier killing this other soldier? No, not necessarily. Right? But it's as leaders, we take responsibility for everything that goes on and it's other leaders in between there. Listen, I haven't heard her skirt responsibility yet. Right? I haven't heard her say, it's not my fault. And I think it's probably the same type of mentality or the same type of culture in the police force where, if you are the commander, or I'm not even sure if they call them commanders, but if that's you take responsibility, just like that guy they fired down in, was it the Uvalde with the school shooting?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Fired him.
He was awful. Oh my God.
But I heard him say it ain't my fault, right?
Yeah.
But if so that's just my thing. So when I look at, when Black men say, "Oh, we are the leaders," right? We're supposed to, that is the order that that this should be in. But as soon as something happens I would say that falls within the community's wheelhouse, and the first thing you do is point to someone else. I'm like, are you leading? Is that what leaders do? Now, no, we know that wasn't you specifically, right? Just like if any Black woman does something disparaging to kill someone or whatever, we know that's not us specifically, right? But we say no, whatever the root cause was, that's what we gotta attack. And I don't feel like I said, it just they pop in Tylenol to fix the symptoms and not the actual root cause,
not curing the problem.
I'm gonna get off my high horse because y'all got and but I'm a hit dog. That's what I'm saying. I'm a hit dog, so I'm hollering.
Just talk about it. Says, why are they always blaming women? We can't control everything, and just that is exactly the point we were making earlier. That these grown men, their girlfriends, their baby mamas, their married mamas, single mamas. These women, cannot tell these men what to do. We can't control them. So, am I getting that?
Which is why we should be addressing absentee fathers, where we should be addressing males where supposedly the leadership is supposed to be, making them leaders, turning them into leaders. Saying, no, young man, do right.
And addressing the men themselves, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that the action. So looks like we have somebody in the back.
Video.
Come on up, David.
Hey.
Welcome to the podcast, David.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, what's your unsolicited opinion that we
Come on, David. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm leaving shortly, but I wanted to come up since guys in the chat wanted me to come up and give another male's perspective on this.
Come through,
please.
So,
what you think? What you think?
First,
about,
I do not agree with that Whitlock dude. I also think that he's a character. It is not the woman's fault. But what is the woman's fault is control of sex, and you guys are trying to pin it off on men. No, it's you guys. If you close your legs and don't have babies outside of wedlock, then you wouldn't have to worry about that.
You wouldn't have to worry about what? Being a single mom?
It will greatly reduce the chances of being a baby mama. At least when you're a single mom, you have some protections. You can get alimony, you can get child support. But it's a baby mama.
Not if you pick the poor man.
None of that.
No, you got to pick good, and that means you're not picking a poor man. And y'all told me that money should matter.
Money for a high value man, money does not matter. Well, hold on, let me move this down. Money does not matter.
Yeah, move that. So we gotta see your face. We gotta see your face,
yeah. But I mean, for these beta people, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. When you say these protections are in place, I'm not going to argue with that. But what I think we do need to draw the line in saying is, when you laying it low and spreading it wide for the dude that might or might not work every other Friday at Walmart.
Why are you doing that though? Why are the women doing that?
Because y'all told us that it shouldn't matter what he does.
No, I didn't say that. I said high value men.
They came for you, baby. They sure did.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready. You guys want it? You guys want what?
So now you telling me that I have
you guys want the smoke? I came for it
to make sure that I have my protections in place when I call the lead attorney. Because I'm sorry, George.
I didn't hear you. Say again. I'm sorry. I missed your point. Go ahead.
My point is, you just said that when you get married, you have these protections in place.
Right.
I'm not pushing back against that. But what I find fascinating is that we're going to choose who this individual is. You told me, or maybe not you directly, but I was advised that I'm not supposed to just look at somebody based on if they could buy me a house or not. If I choose the person that work at Walmart every other Friday, I don't have no protections. I'm not getting any child support. I'm on Struggle Street with or without you.
Well, women typically pick the most alpha that they can get. They typically pick someone that can lead, provide financially a lot is part of that provision, that has a plan, that is 6 feet tall, someone like me. But
all right, David.
But
David, what's your ideal woman? How old is this lady? How old is the woman? Am I too old?
What? Are you too old? How old are you?
I'm 40.
You 40?
I'm newly 40.
All right, David.
What you want me to DM you?
39 and 13
want to get
months.
Together or something? What is this? Is this a dating show? I thought we was talking about.
No, it's not a dating show, but we did have questions from the last time that we didn't get to ask.
So we were visiting last time? Is that what we're doing, ladies?
You know how women do. You know how women are.
Did you guys write
I don't know.
Something?
I don't know what y'all did after I left that chat, left that stream last time, but it looked like you came up here and said some things so I'm going to be the one to keep it on track tonight. But just know we're going to do a part 2 of last time, David, so we can ask the questions so that my homegirls can ask the questions, so that my sisterhood, like Sim says in the chat, can ask the questions they need of you. My question to you is, you're saying that women need to close their legs, and if they close their legs, then they would not be single mothers. Okay, facts. But here's my question. What makes a man feel like he can go and sleep, have unprotected sex with the woman, knowing all of the risks, not just pregnancy, but like, disease and all that other stuff. And when pregnancy happens, he says, oh no, I'm gone. Oh, that's on her. She's or you know what I mean? Where is that accountability? What makes you go and do this, right? And even ask for sex from the woman.
Okay, men are always going to ask for sex.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
let's just agree on that.
Well, can we
That's
push
our
back
baseline
against
we
that?
need to agree on.
mean, can we push back against that type of mentality that men are asking for sex from women they have no intentions with?
Yes.
They have no intentions of marrying? Let's just say that.
Yes. Okay, so let's go back to male mentality and female mentality, which is totally different. Okay. Biologically, men were the hunter-gatherers, women were in the household. I'm talking about way back in Stone Age, protecting, and the men hunt and gathered and brought food on. Men had to ensure the survival of the tribe. He had to make as many babies as he could, because if he died, someone had to carry on. Okay? That is baked into our DNA. That's why men can look at sex totally different than women can. Men can look at sex as a physical act with some emotion. Let's say it was a ratio of physical act 80%, emotion 20%. It's exactly the opposite for
David,
women.
I can't when y'all make these types of statements, right?
Right.
Like, okay, because
it is
back
true.
but okay,
That's why women can have sex with people that they know are not husbands, are not husband material. They know going in. It's not like you guys are naive about this. You know going in that this dude is not a good husband material. That's why after you typically...
And you men know going in that these women that you so-called claim are, what you say, what we say earlier, this baby mama trope, right? That they aren't the type of women that you would necessarily want to marry. But
we're not picking people to marry. That's you don't get that.
You always see the worst. You picking people to have babies with.
Marry.
So
we are picking people to have sex with. Okay.
So
now,
you're picking people you want to procreate with. That is worse.
So, come on, let's one at a time, one mic at a time, guys. One mic at a time.
I'm sorry, Dave. But then you go back and shame these women for not being married to the men that came.
Women should have chose better.
Okay. So okay. I don't.
The lead attorney says Nick didn't create any of those baby mamas.
That's right.
They created themselves. Women have agency. They decided to become mothers.
Those women lined up for Nick Cannon. You think that after baby mama number 8, they don't think that they're going to be baby mama number 9? You think that Nick Cannon is going to change his ways? No, they wanted
he made Mariah Carey a baby mama. He married her.
She didn't sign up for that, though. She didn't sign up for that.
But he didn't start his tribe until after Mariah Carey.
That's what NAllen was saying about people change.
Like she's back there in the dust.
But that's what you were saying when people change. People change. Mariah Carey didn't sign up to be anybody's baby mother.
We would have never seen this.
She was not signing up to be. She was signing up to be this man's wife, have their kids and everything. And then what he do? They probably both changed. They got a divorce, right? Change happens, and now he out here on baby mama making spree. I don't know if that's the same man that showed up to Mariah Carey's front doorstep talking about, will you marry me? That men change, and it happens all the time. Just like you say, oh, women weaponize the kids. Men change, and they will talk a good game, because I don't know where y'all learned it from. I don't know if it's from the barbershop or whatever. I don't know, maybe from other men, right? You talk a good game, you tell a woman, I'm gonna do all of this and I do this for you, and I take care of you, this and this and that, and then all of a sudden, just like Joy said, they spread it wide, or what you say, lay it low and spread it wide, because they trusted it, whatever. I'm not saying this is for every woman, and I'm not saying this is for every man, because I know, David, you are not like this. But it happens enough where they trust these men thinking that, you know, they're going to be whatever, just like these men trust these women thinking that they're
No,
going to
Ty.
be.
Ty,
Okay.
I can
Right.
agree with you that there are exceptions that men
Okay.
are changed.
They're exceptions.
But if you cannot tell me that when you were, or when women, I'm not you, because, you know, I don't want to personalize anybody here. But you cannot tell me that when your girlfriend goes to the club and see that popular guy, they're going to say, you know, that, oh, that dude is going to, you know, the dude is already, that alpha, that Q dog already ran through 3 of your friends. But today he's going to be okay
right
with
in
you.
line.
You know,
because
you cannot believe
because,
me. That you cannot convince me
because
that
y'all
that was
perpetuate
something
that.
that you believed in.
Because
One
y'all
mic, women,
because
one mic.
Because the men perpetuate that. They always say, yeah, I ran through all these women.
And they lying.
I
But
went
you
through
know
all
that. You know we lying.
But listen to me. I ran through all these women in my 20s. I had all my fun in my 20s, and now I'm ready to settle down in my 30s and my 40s and or whatever, however long it took you to want to, not you necessarily, to want to have to settle down.
I know. It's not personal.
But
that's
you
called
know,
advanced game. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So if I meet if I meet a 45-year-old man, I would think, like, you know, he ain't running. I was off bat without even him speaking a single word to me. I would think that he was at a more mature level than a man at 25, right?
Right.
And
well, we're not talking about those guys. I thought we were talking about the men, and I'm agreeing with you. I thought we was talking about the men ages 25 to 35. I'm talking. That's when the man is kind of sowing his oats. Okay, men typically, if a husband is typically, that guy is over 30, maybe 32-ish and up. Before then, we're just trying to, hey, you know, we're just trying to experience life. That's all we're trying to do. That's all most men are trying to do. I was a little bit different. I'm not speaking for me, because I was always kind of the walk to my own tune and kind of different. But most men are trying to experience life, and part of that experience life and become themselves is to experience as many women as they can. And I think that most women knows that. Deep down, you know it.
But that's what I'm saying. So then when black women say, you know what, I don't want you. I don't want you. We're good. I try to raise my standards, right? I no longer, want to be. I don't want to be lined up to be somebody's baby mother. I want to focus on this. I want to focus on my goals. I want to focus on my education. Then the next thing y'all say is, now you done hit a wall because you're so busy focusing on that, but you wasn't worried about getting a husband and at your what do you call it, sexual marketplace,
right,
or whatever. And I'm just like, baby, you don't know Tyrese. But what I'm saying is,
no, you still peeking, huh?
I ain't saying all that. I am spoken for, so I don't know nothing about that. But what I'm saying is, y'all, it's these conflicting ideologies coming from all types of men. And when women say, well, I don't care what any of you say, let me just focus on me, right?
I gave the ideal age for a man is 32 and up. For a woman, you guys do mature earlier as far as, domesticated. And so I think that your ideal age is somewhere between 24 to 30. That's when you guys are still, excited about life. Typically, you haven't had a kid yet. You're still malleable. You're still agreeable. That's when you're at your highest highest sexual value to a man. So once you hit a little bit older, you can still be in shape. You can still be, you can still be a bad girl. But what happens is that typically you experience life. Life has beat you down. You've had that negative relationship and again and again and again. So you're not looking at that relationship with someone like me the same. You're trying to just like now. Yeah, what happened last time we was on the stream, you got that written down. You're ready. You're ready for David now, So, so you say, okay, so this guy is just like that other guy, that Pookie, that Ray, and I'm gonna treat him like that Pookie and Ray. And we are not having it.
Yeah,
We're not that Pookie. We're not that Ray Ray.
I
So
think I
when you
said-
try to treat us like someone else because they did that, most men are not down for that. We're not down for, that damage control.
So as far as raising these children, right? Because the topic is about, single mothers. When y'all are doing all of this, running through and getting all of the notches on your belts, at what point do you stop and realize, like, oh shoot, like this is my third kid, this the third woman? Like, does that not ever happen?
I don't think that you should have kids. I don't think that men should have kids.
But hold on now, you just said
populate the earth.
No, I said you can have sex. I didn't say produce a kid.
But back in the Stone
Age,
Age,
about kids today.
We're not in Stone Age now. I'm telling you the mentality of men.
Oh, I ain't doing this with you, Dave. I tried to tell you we're not in the Stone Age now. You telling me it's embedded in your DNA. As a man, you are supposed to go off and have sex because you were destined to basically spread your seed around the earth, populate this earth.
True. However, modern men, if you do that too much, you lose half of your stuff. So you can have multiple relationships with women and not have any baby mamas. So there is a way that, again, I do not agree with men having multiple baby mamas outside of wedlock. I do not agree with that. Okay. However, you cannot tell me that your picker is not off when you see the guy at the club that have had several relationships with your girlfriends and others, and you can see them running game, and then you approach that guy because he's hot and you take no accountability. At the end of the day, you bring life into the world. The men impregnate you, but you bring life into the world.
Well, just because them Pookeishas be on that type of stuff does not mean that that's applicable to everybody.
We're talking about generality. You can't say that. You can't argue exceptions.
But then
you can say there's exceptions to every. I'm an exception. I have no kids. Right, okay, right. So you can't argue exceptions. You can say in general this is what happens, and in general it is the woman who chooses to have the baby. But it is the woman. It's not the guy.
That's baby mama number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of that question.
There's a particular type of woman that's baby mama number 4, 5, 6, and 7.
That's true. Okay,
that's
so
what I was saying, like earlier
I
owned a baby mama.
I'm sorry, say again.
I said that's what I was talking about when I don't know if you were in that early. I was asking about what is a single mom, and we kind of got into like a baby mama, single mom, a single woman. Like they all kind of have different connotations and this different imagery that goes along with those things. Because your immediate thing was, oh, well, no, if you're married, you can get alimony. Well, no, that's not how it works a lot of times. Because
that's how it works a lot of times.
And with Pookie.
That's how. Well, you're picking a guy who has no value. So you're not going to get nothing, of course. Mm-hmm. Again, it's your picker. It is your picker.
Well, hold on now. So you always go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to talk about the men and their picking. Because, like, okay, if the sexual marketplace, right, is what you say, our market value is what is peaked at what age?
I personally think that typically, I would say anywhere between 20 for marriage, anywhere between 24 to maybe 30 or so. The reason is that typically when a man wants to settle down with you, they want to have kids, and I think that you guys start getting into the danger zone for kids around what 34 is it 33 34.
30,
so
is that the only reason though, because of the reproductive aspect of it?
Because I'm sorry.
It's like a man, a 45-year-old man, or however old man is, right. The lead attorney say we talking about him, a 40-something-year-old man. So should he, if he doesn't have any kids or anything like that,
right?
Should he date down to that young.
If he want a kid, he's going to have to. And that's the sad story of it is that, like for me,
down to like 20 something, 20.
Well, for me, that boat has sailed because I don't want, I have there's no commonality for me and a 30-year-old, 20 something year old. Okay. So, me having a biological kid is kind of, but we're not talking individuals, we're talking about generality. And in general, I think that when men start seriously thinking about settle down, and I was in that boat when I was thinking about settling down. If you remember last time, last show, I said I had to make it. And then when during that making it stage, anybody, the most beautiful woman in the world, literally could have come up and say, "Hey, David, let's kick it." And I would have said, I don't know. But when men are ready, typically they look around and they choose someone that is again agreeable, can be on his plan, all of that, and they want to have a son. They want to have some legacy. So once a woman gets past that in her late 40s and so on, and a man knows that cannot happen, then they just accept the fact that woman is not going to be able to have a kid. And now we're looking at other things. We're looking at maybe a surrogate. We're looking at adopting or something like that if he still wants to have a legacy. So, or you kind of just deal with it.
Okay.
But we're not talking about those guys, right? We're talking about the Pookies and Ray Rays. So we're talking about the women that has 5 or 6 kids at 20 and they're not even 30.
We're not even talking about that right now. Let me ask you a question, David. Who do you think, or whatever, do you think is responsible for whatever happened to Tyre Nichols? Who do you think? I think you said you did not agree with Jason Whitlock, right? But is there blame that lies on anyone? Who do you think that blame lies on?
Okay, so Sim says for me not to give up the game. I'm sorry, brother. I'm giving up the man code.
Not Sim.
I'm not going to do it anymore. Oh, no, don't hide the chat now, NAllen. Don't hide the chat.
Hike 5 miles up a mountain just to get some granola and fruit.
Sim.
I'm messing with you.
Salute, Sim. All right. What do you have?
Shout out, Sim. What did I ask you? I asked you, is there someone to blame for what happened other than the 5 men? Well, you may not even blame them, but I know you.
Oh, no, I blame the men. I do not blame the baby mamas. These were adult males, and they should not be beating up on a brother.
Okay.
Period.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That is definitely. My question would be, at what point do adults start to take accountability for their own actions? Like, why is this 50-something-year-old man? I know you say you don't agree with him, so I don't expect you to necessarily know, but why is this 50-something-year-old black man, why is he attributing that to their parents or their mom?
I think that it's for the clicks. I mean, he makes stupid. I don't follow him a lot, but he's made some crazy statements, throughout. Right. And so I think that he's. I'm not sure if he's playing the fool to get attention. There's a rule of thought that all publicity is good publicity, or all attention is good attention. Mm. I hope that he don't truly believe some of the things that are coming out of his mouth. I hope that, but I don't know.
He did go into more. He did give a little bit more on his thought process earlier today on who was it, Anton Daniels' show, and some things I can say I could agree with what he kind of said as far as like his stance, as far as his religion is concerned, him being a Christian, living by the Bible, men, right, should be looking to marry women and having a family. I can agree to that, but I just can't get with and I didn't necessarily know of him before all of this happened, but I can't get with the using Black single mothers as scapegoats for the actions of Black men.
Not for this action.
Not
Not
for
for
this.
this action. But you cannot say that the Black baby mama drama is a positive for the Black community. You cannot
no.
say that.
Yeah, just
These women who glorify being a baby mama is a problem. And so if he said that to bring attention to the baby mama problem, then that is exactly right. You should not be proud that you have 3 babies and you're not even 30 years old and you've never been married. That is not a good thing. That's not something that women should be proud of and celebrated and made songs about. That is not a good thing. It is not good to be wilding out there and trying to be a man. It's
I was
not a
thinking the
good thing.
same thing. Women should definitely not be proud that they are absentee fathers out here. It is nothing to be proud about knowing that you have, 5 different kids across 5 different households and you don't take care, any of them.
Who brought the kid into the world? The man or the guy or the woman?
They both had a hand.
They
in
both
that.
didn't.
Yeah. No.
They both didn't.
Oh, so these kids don't have fathers.
These kids are the choice between bringing a life into the world typically is not a man's choice. The woman decides.
The choice that he made was to sleep with this woman unprotected. Like, you can have sex all day, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be unprotected.
Plant a seed. You can't.
Like,
you
can wrap it up. I mean, I don't know. They don't do that no more.
So after conception, what happens then? Walk me along that process.
After conception, this woman is now pregnant, and now she's going to be having a baby.
What happens after that?
But you knew that before. You knew
but she knew that he wasn't the right guy.
And she knew, and guess what?
She chose to have the baby.
Right, and she's there taking care of the baby. Where is the absentee father? She's there taking care of her.
What you're saying? Are you suggesting that? Are you suggesting that if it comes down to that decision that you're talking about, with the woman, in her body, are you suggesting that decision really is gonna end up in the consequence of he's like, well, I'm out, that's a you problem, and is that acceptable? Because that's
all right.
what
I want to go back to. I do not believe that men should have babies and women should have babies outside of wedlock.
Right.
Period.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have, and it's happened to me almost, is that you have women that trap men that you said wrap it up. They take the sperm out of the thing. And, I don't want it to get too graphic. This is YouTube. But there is ways that a man without his consent can have babies.
A turkey baster.
Okay. A man without his consent can have babies. And I know for sure that it hasn't happened to me, but in my family with these high value things, as soon as they make it, all these women are for them and they want to have their kids because they know that's a great way to solidify their future. Okay.
I believe they should have some type of discipline on who they sleep with.
But let's say a man takes every precaution, okay, and the somehow the woman gets impregnated, and the man says that I do not want to have a child, and the woman has 100% control over whether that guy have a child or not. The man has nothing to do with it. That decision, nothing. But it's my body, it's my baby.
But you've already surpassed the benchmarks of the things that you can control as a man that will prevent you from having a child when you don't want to have one. No one told you to go to this woman and ask for sex. Right? No one said that. Now, and I'm saying ask because, he
Right.
says that women control sex, right? So I believe these men are, asking however they get. I hope they're not, forcing themselves upon women.
Right.
So no one said for you to go to this woman and ask for sex, knowing, and I know you said it's like it's in your DNA, but knowing you don't want to have anything other than sex with this woman, you don't want to have any babies, you don't want to have any responsibilities for whatever comes out of her womb in 9 months, right? So you can keep it moving. David, I know you're an exception. I know you're an exception to the rule. I don't know how you skirted these years without having kids, but whatever you did worked for you, right? Where I'm saying, whatever you did, if you feel like that is the way that they should go, why aren't more men doing that? It's just like take responsibility that yes, after conception, it's no longer in your hands. Right? Hopefully, the person that you slept with, y'all are on the same page. She might be like, I'm with you, and it's chopper style up in there, right? Excuse me, I ain't mean to say it like that, but you understand what I'm saying, right? She might be on the same page, or she might not be. But what you said, we need to pick better, but these men should pick better as well. You should know whether or not you're on the same before you lay down with this woman that y'all are on the same page.
Okay, so you lay down with this woman. You have agreed to have sex with this woman. You have done all of your precautions. She tells you that she's on the pill. You wrap it up, and then you come to find out that this woman hoodwinked you. Okay, I was going to try to say something else.
These exceptions you talking about now.
But you didn't know her in the first place. You didn't know her in the beginning.
You didn't know her. I knew her enough to convince her to have sex.
Okay,
but that's all I
you did not know her. You didn't know her. And that's what Ty's kind of saying. Like, you are past the point of the things that you could control. Because after you get y'all, do the act, then it's like, okay, they can go in the toilet. They go in the trash can. They can pull the stuff back up. They can use the turkey base. They can do whatever they want. But if you're not even there in the first place, then they have nothing there.
They should be just like they should be about their business.
So according to you, NAllen, and I want to point out what Doug's point in the chat. 54% of black men have no kids. Okay, so it's not everybody, and I want to make sure that we point this out. You have done everything that you're supposed to do, except doggone take the condom in, put it in your pocket, and leave the house with it.
Really, you
are responsible for that kid. So where's the equity in that? Where's the equity in that? I have to pay for that kid who I did not want for 18 years.
It's double standard in everything, and you know that. Just like y'all can sleep around.
So it's okay for you guys to have it and acknowledge the double standard, but it's not okay for us to acknowledge. You're saying it's okay that it's a double standard. You know that men gets a raw deal, and men get a raw deal in this,
and women get a raw deal.
That's why men are not marrying en masse.
But they're sleeping around, making these babies everywhere. The same men,
leaving the woman to be the single mother that is apparently not able to control.
And I go back: the woman controls how them being a single mama. The mother, the mom, the wife, the woman controls that, not the man.
46%.
Now that the kid is here. Now that the kid is here, okay, like all that's fine. We move past that. It's here. And it's a scenario where the man didn't want the child. Then what are we suggesting? Are you saying that it's on her? Don't call me. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want nothing to do with it. And then she get what she get with some kid running around doing whatever they want to do.
See, unfortunately, the man has no choice. And that's why the men have a raw deal. If that baby is born and she put down that I am the father, I am paying for that kid. I have no choice in that. And that's not fair. That's not fair to men. So we have no choice in that. That's why I'm going to do like common sense is. I'm going to put some hot sauce in that bad boy. I'm going to go with the Drake method.
Don't even go there. That's where I'm at. Like, you make a decision and be like, I'm going to pass up on this one. I'm not going to ask this one to like go home with me. Because that's the only way you can control it. That's the only way.
So you're saying that
Stop
that
asking for all this sex from all
The
these
same,
different
we're
women.
saying the same way you're telling this in the same manner you're telling women to close their legs. We're telling men in the same manner to stop, close your legs, but basically stop, close your legs too. That's what we're saying. It's the same thing. We're asking for the, you know what y'all say about the feminists. They want equal. We ask for the same thing across the board. Close your legs. We close our legs.
I go back to the fact that 54% of black men have no kids.
And I'm going back to the fact that
You guys are
46%.
picking the wrong. You guys are picking the Rays.
Y'all need to get y'all
and the
homeboys
hot
that's out here
boys,
throwing their
and
oats.
again, men who are not marriage material. It's a fact that on dating apps, women choose between 5 and 10% of the time to engage a male. And it's always the same type of male that you guys are engaging. It is your picker. You go right by the average guy, typically, and you pick these guys that are whatever you're saying, hide or whatever that makes them a picker. Well, if you're picking them, everybody that's like you is picking them also.
46% of black men have kids.
That is true.
40%. It's almost half. That's almost half. It ain't almost half. 46% of black men have kids. And they are impregnating how many what, come on, Doug, with the stats. What's the percentage of black women with kids? 40%. So we are asking for the majority of men, right, to look within yourselves and police up these 46%, because y'all got the majority.
Well, why are you putting all the burden on the man? The women controls the sex, and the woman controls birth.
I'm saying that each side does they take accountability for themselves. Okay, stop telling women what they should do if you feel like women can't tell you what to do, right? So I'm saying, women, we're gonna get this. We're gonna police ourselves. Yes, you're right. A whole lot of us got kids out of wedlock. We got multiple kids, and we're not in the best situation. So women,
but
because we just said it. We just said
no,
it.
but I want to take that a little bit further. And here's the problem with that, guys, is that when you have kids out of wedlock, and you have, especially, again, I'm not talking to anyone on the panel. I'm talking about these multiple baby mamas and stuff like that. That disqualifies you from that good man. That disqualifies you. If you're in wedlock and you have one child, okay, we get it. We get it.
Having three kids come to a situation and that man don't have no kids. Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. But no. Even then, if you are if you are a woman that is kind of in your late 30s, you haven't had kids, and you get married and you have a kid, and then it doesn't work, and now you're in your 40s. We understand that. You did it the right way. You got married, you did what you're supposed to do. It didn't happen. You did it the right way. You get a pass. But if you are 20, you're 30, and you have 6 kids, 2 of them every 2 years, worse than that, every year, you don't get a pass. You don't get a pass.
Okay, that's fine, but
that you make have ruined you for the good guys. Now you're stuck with the Pookies and the Ray Rays.
Are we not talking about single mothers and Jason Whitlock anymore?
We want to go to Jason Whitlock now, huh? We want to go back there.
A little bit.
I try to get y'all back on track, but y'all want to talk about last episode
a little bit. Because ultimately, what we were trying to kind of understand is where do we get this blame? If what Ty is suggesting is men need to be more responsible in the same way that you all as men are saying, well, hey, it's on the girl, what's she gonna do? Okay, we agree, it's both sides, but as for the man though, like, y'all, if you have the attitude of what mama's baby's daddy's maybe, then that's what else we supposed to do. We are gonna be the single mamas. Where do you have any type of...
If you close your legs, you don't have to worry about that.
And I tell you what,
it's
Okay.
women
So
that
that's the
controls the
solution.
sex. Unless a man forces themselves on you, it's women that controls the sex.
Okay. So the solution to the single mom baby mama epidemic is to stop having sex.
Have it the right way. Have a better
what's
picker.
the right way?
Well, ideally, you're in a committed relationship. You're not doing one of these hook up at the club type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You are not picking the guy that you know you're not going to try to convert, and you know that this guy is a player. You know it. Women know that. You guys have that sixth sense. You know that this dude is a player. You know that he has screwed around, whatever, and y'all talk. Oh yeah, man, that dude is yeah, and but he got some good D. He got good D. Oh, okay.
I've heard that before, David.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you that.
Like
one.
Right in Allen. Am I lying? Am I lying in
You tell
Allen?
the truth, because I know like people like
Yeah.
that. I'm like 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, oh y'all, why y'all doing that? So yeah, I'm gonna give you that one.
it's true. So one thing that I did notice, and I think I said this maybe the last time that we talked, was that things are out of order, and it's just a sweeping norm in society now. You have the boyfriend, girlfriend, we dating, I get pregnant, and then you get proposed to at the baby shower. And the wedding may or may not come. So, I mean, it's out of order. And it's completely socially acceptable for things to be out of order. And I don't think there's a way to reel it back in and to bring it back to where it's more acceptable to wait until after marriage to have kids.
I guess.
Well, I'm not saying wait until after marriage to have kids. I'm saying that have a more solidified, because that may be unlikely. But having
so the marriage part don't make
relationship-
you a single mom.
I'm sorry, say again.
So if you don't get married, as long as the person is y'all dating,
have a real relationship. Have a real relationship. Some men, may not, because you have so much power, and to men, sex is such a huge component of a marriage dynamic. They may not want to wait until marriage to figure out if you're good in bed or not. Okay, but have a serious relationship with your significant other. You guys be into each other, and then if it don't work, it don't work. You gave it the college try. However, going to the club and thinking it's okay to be a man and picking up a guy every time you go to the club. You go to the club Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you had 3 sexual relationships. Or you do some of that craziness, and you might have more than 3 in that time. Women do that, and women brag about it. Oh yeah, I had him. Yeah, ooh.
That's what we say. Is that what we be doing?
Tell me what your straight girlfriends be saying. What they be saying in Allen?
I don't know. I don't know.
Now you don't know. Now you don't know.
I don't know, but I just know I heard this same name from 3 different.
Men. I must say I know. I've heard men talk about the women that they've had. Oh, I had that one. You don't want that one. Or I got that one. You could probably get with that one because she did this and this and this for whomever. Men speak like that. Now,
don't. I have 3 sisters, Ty. I know what y'all say. I have 3. I am sandwiched with sisters, 2 olders and 1 younger. I know that you guys get major descriptive. A guy would say, "Yeah, man, yeah, she was tight. Yeah, okay." Women would say, "This is what he had on. This is how he smelled. This is how." So you cannot tell me that you guys don't share the tea. Don't cap. Don't cap.
But nobody.
Not with me.
What I'm saying is, you're sitting here. Oh, y'all just need to close your legs, and all of this will, go away. As if men are not like close your legs too. Like tuck it in, bro. Like you zip it up, tuck it in, go on about your business. Like your business, like your for real business. Like you.
We are going about our business.
No, exactly, right? Exactly. That's exactly what's happening. And now we got all of these children out here with absentee fathers.
And I go back to who controls the sex? Who controls what life comes into this world?
And that's
it's not the men.
But you have a child, regardless of, nobody told you to come knocking at this lady's door talking about, hello, can I have some sex from you? And then she gives it to you, right? And now you like, oh, she's pregnant, as if you didn't know what the consequences of sex was.
And I go back to 54% of black men
And
are
I
childless.
go back to 46%.
And you're right, common sense. They want the bad boys, and then when the bad boys run through them, now they want somebody else.
Run through.
We just want you to take accountability for yourself. Like just be there with it, right? Be with the 40, talk to the 46%. It's 54% of y'all that don't have them. Talk to the 46%. Now, if it's what did Brian say earlier? It's 80% of women with kids out here. If it's 20%,
David from Baton Rouge, he know that ain't true.
I want the 20%.
That was a bit high.
Talk to the 80%.
That was a tad high. He was off just a little bit.
He said it with conviction.
I was like, wait,
that's what I'm saying. Y'all half and half over there.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, men have to take some responsibility. It's true, but women have the most responsibility, and you should have the most responsibility because unfortunately, ultimately, you are the ones that is going to be the primary caretaker of the kid. The system is rigged.
That's why we should have.
The system is rigged against the men. Even when men want to take care of their kid,
stuff like that.
Even when men want to take care of their kid, women tend to weaponize the kid. Women tend to use the kid as leverage against the man, and that's unfortunate.
What is the percentage of
who
women
chose these women?
What is the percentage of women that choose to weaponize their kids?
Hey, Doug, pull up the stats
for me.
Pull up the stats, Doug. Pull up the stats. But I can tell you right now, I have no kids, but I can tell you right now, personally, when I'm dealing with a girl and then, we cut it off, I have no access to the kid anymore. No access.
But no, you picked her, so you should know that this is this.
I should be able to maintain a relationship with the kids, but it don't. It is my kid. It is my kid. You have no access to them, and you guys would say that with the quickness because you want to get back at me. You want to use that as a leverage to get back at the guy. And unfortunately, guess who's filing for divorce? You guys file for divorce 80% of the time. You guys are the one who filed, so you guys are making the men. You guys are taking the kids away from the men. The men are not walking away from the kids. The men are walking away from you. Y'all toxic, but we'll walk away from you. But the men typically love the kids.
The men love the women. Okay, now I'm gonna say this, and I say this all the time. The men love the women because a man will be with a woman who has children that are not his because he loves the woman. Now, that's just it. Now he'll stay with you.
That's true.
And hopefully, your kids are his kids, and they'll get to be with dad. But other than that, the men are worried about the women.
Initially, because the man meets the woman first. But once that relationship developed, the men that have a bond with the kid, they develop. Especially if the man is thinking about that woman long term. If the man is thinking about that woman long term, they're going to want to try to have at least at the very minimum a good relationship with the kid. Okay.
But let's not act
at the maximum, the man will think that the kid is 80% his. You feeding them, they start looking like you.
Feed them so they look like you.
And so now, my nephew, who lives with me, I told you I have no kids, but I raised my niece and nephew. My nephew still lives with me. He's 23 years old, and everyone thinks that he's my son, and we don't tell him any differently because I've been feeding him, and he looks like me since. For the last 8-9 years, he do look like my son, right. And so women in my relationships, women would take the kid away. I want to maintain a relationship with the kid. I don't want to deal with her, but that's my kid. And it's hurting the kid because you have no male influence in that kid's life. No major male influence. And when you take that, it takes a male and female energy to raise a kid. You guys mentioned earlier about the village. True. It is true. It takes a village. But guess what? Inside of the village, inside of the hut is a man and woman. And you're taking these guys away, especially the guys that want to be there, because you mad at him and you're gonna get at him. Guess who it hurts? It hurts the
No,
kids.
I'm gonna tell you like this.
It hurts the
I mean,
kids.
listen, I'm not the lead attorney. I don't work in family law or anything like that. But I'm gonna tell you like this. I feel, are there vindictive people, male and female, right, out there in the world? Yes. Are there some women out here who will try to use that to get whatever leverage over men, whatever have you, in a breakup, divorce, or whatever have you? Yes, there are some, but just like you said, there are exceptions. These are exceptions. Okay.
Wrong.
They are exceptions.
Women, it is a stat that women file for divorce 80% of the time.
We're talking about women weaponizing kids to get back at. I'm talking about
it is a fact that the male does not have 50-50 parental custody of the kid.
That's not fact.
That is a fact.
That's not fact. But the fact is a fact. Listen, that is not fact.
That is a fact. The lead have said it. I know personally, and the lead have said it in his panel many times, that at best, they're trying to change the rules to at best, David, the male has 50-50 chance. In most cases, it's a lot less than that.
David, what is the percentage of custody disputes that go before a court?
Okay, so as the leader said, and I agree with him, the reason why there's not a whole lot of custody disputes.
You're gonna let me finish this.
Are you gonna let me answer the question, or are you gonna interrupt me? Which one you gonna do, Ty?
You giving me?
You're gonna let me answer. You're gonna interrupt.
Come on, you're giving me a reason. I asked you the percentage. Just give me the number. Just give me the number.
I will pull up the number later, but here's the true fact.
Let me let you know. Okay. 90. Listen, and I'm not the lead attorney, but he conceded to this point that 90% of custody cases do not even make it to the court.
And the point is, you know why? There's a why to that. You know why?
Why?
Because the man has to doggone go bankrupt to fight the case. And
what's the percent? What is the
good chance that they're gonna lose their life savings on this. That is why it's not contested.
What is the percentage of men?
The system is
what is the percentage?
Men.
See, that's the problem, because you know what? Lee said this. He said this, okay? He said his first videos when he talked about child support and trying to help men, in the court system and stuff. He said, y'all ain't watched them. He said it. And he said nobody watched those videos when he was trying to help men get whatever leverage they could have in the court. Right? He said y'all ain't care about it. But when Tasha K came along, all of a sudden his chat blowing up, his numbers is going. But when this man, this 20-year law attorney was giving out the game to men on how they can, about child support, about alimony, about all this, y'all ain't even watch it. He had to get on some ratchet. No, I don't want to say ratchet stuff, but I mean, he had to go and talk about Tasha K, Cardi B, everything but what y'all keep complaining about.
Ty, how does that affect the fact that the system is rigged is against the men?
Because you guys complain. Where are the men? Where are these men groups, right, that get together and say, you know what, let's put our resources together so that we can help men get their 50-50 in court? Where are they?
Thank you for conceding that men are not getting 50-50 in the court.
No, but that's
I want to point out
illusion. That's the illusion that y'all not getting 50-50. You need to fight. I said it before. It's nothing but death can keep me from fighting for my child till my very last breath. But for some reason, money is all y'all need. That's it. I ain't got it. You ain't never got it. We over here arguing over some measly $26 a week in child support. Are you for real? You can't. I mean, I don't do $26 a week.
But hey, you're not supposed to.
Let me address it. Right. Let me address it. But honestly, it's nothing. There's nothing. I don't know about the rest of the ladies on this panel, but I'm pretty sure they can probably agree that nothing but death can keep me from my own child, if
and cops
I will
and jail.
listen.
That can
And
keep you
But
away.
I think that we made
Okay.
good choices.
It's called a restraining order.
But
That can keep you away.
okay, but
Okay.
listen.
So
But
and
I will fight.
unfortunately,
But I'm
Lee
going
had
to
it.
fight. But I will fight. I will. What I'm
You would
saying
fight.
is,
You would
I
fight
will
from a
fight. I
position
will
of
fight
weakness.
until I can't
You
fight
would
no
fight
more.
from a position of
I
weakness
will.
in
I will.
jail. That's where you
Okay.
be fighting
But
for. You be writing those pen letters.
I will.
Son,
fight.
I would like to have.
Ain't
I
no
would like to have
way.
seen
Ain't
you
no
on
way.
your birthday,
That
but
means
I only get
90% of
15
y'all
minutes
give up.
visitation rights.
90% of men just give up. That's what you're saying. 90% of it's only 10% that actually go to court and try to fight it. And of that 10% is 60%, more than half. Where's the 54% of the men that without the kids? More 60%.
They wouldn't have to fight it
Of the men
because
that
they have no
actually,
kids.
60% of the men that actually go to court and say no, she is not getting whatever they contested. Of that 60%, of that 10%, 60% actually get custody, more than half over the woman. But 90% say, nah, it's too expensive. I can't do it.
Okay, so you can't look at the numbers without having some context.
Yeah, okay, all right. Tell us right, because it costs too much money. It costs too much.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you something.
Why should a man?
Where are the groups?
So you're saying that a man should lose all his net worth,
or he can go pro se,
all his net worth.
He can represent himself.
Ty, are you gonna let me finish my statement or not?
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
Awesome. That'd be nice.
I'm muting. I ain't muted, but I'm muted.
No, I don't want you to mute. Don't mute.
Go ahead.
I want your opinion. I want it. But a man should lose all of his net worth, so that he can fight to win the child and have a less than 80% chance that he's not going to do it. That doesn't make sense. Maybe because you're not a man, you don't understand. The system is rigged against men. That is why
they don't fight at all.
Mom can have custody over the child with an upstanding guy and don't have custody. That is crazy.
Ain't no way.
It's crazy to think that a man should want to do that.
Men do not exhaust their resources.
They only make $35,000 a year. Ain't that what y'all told me?
They do not.
They don't even have the 80,000. They may not even
what y'all told me.
It was 60,000 to fight it. They may not even have that. That may be 2 years worth of wage.
I will go dead broke in the hole. I don't care. But
your butt will be locked up in jail. We'll be. You know what? I'll send you those pen letters. I'll come visit you, baby.
I'm gonna go dead broke in the hole in order to have some type of custody or whatever it is that y'all in here contested. I have never been to court for any type of child custody cases or any. I never really been to court like that either. But
they do mediation.
But I never did mediation. I never did any. I can't even speak from a place of that I know, right? So here y'all go. This is all emotion and all feeling. But it's nothing in this world. If somebody said, oh, I'm taking, and I know that I'm a good parent, right? I know that. I will go in the hole. I will go negative into the hole. I will do whatever I need to do to be with my child. And maybe men don't have that connection with their kids, right? Because you said it's just a seed and you ain't want them anyway. So know what I'm saying?
I think men love for real. I think women love situational.
Here we go.
I think when a man truly commits and truly falls in love, it is for better and worse. I think that when a woman does it, it's for better or until you run out of your resources.
No, and then men be for better or worse, and I'm gonna give you worse, and I'm gonna keep testing you, and then we don't have to sit there and keep taking that. Now I'm gonna step in on that. Yeah, every time we get on that, y'all trigger me. I'm gonna just say it. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's like, oh, women can't be conditional. Yeah, it gotta be. I'm sorry, y'all. The unconditional is not. That's not a thing. It's just a free pass for y'all to do whatever you want to do. Because, like, hold on, because you can't place conditions on this. There are conditions on everything. Y'all got conditions on things y'all do. If y'all giving money out to women, y'all got conditions on that. Y'all ain't just giving it out. You got to do something for it. Do they not? Yeah. Or y'all just no conditions placed on the money, on that money, or whatever you're doing with your women?
So
Okay,
and now we go
I'ma
back
go
to
back to
money.
sleep.
And that's my point. Resources. You guys want men for their resources.
And
And
which
you
I
Not
want
you
us
want
for
guys.
women
sex.
for.
Not
Which
you
I
guys.
ask
I'm
And
for
not
y'all
talking
want
women.
us
about
for
you guys.
sex. And
I'm
y'all
talking
want
about
us for
women.
sex.
Okay. Women want men for their resources. When the resources run out, you're just gonna go to the next man.
And
But
y'all want us for
here's the fun
sex. And
fact. When we don't need your resources and we say that, now we belligerent.
Joy, didn't you say a man have to buy you a
We
house
did.
for you to shut up? Didn't you say that?
You do have
Who
to pay
said
for
that?
me.
Who
No,
said that?
I said
Roll the tape.
I said it.
Da-da-da-da.
But I want you to also understand
Roll the
too.
tape. Who said
I
that?
want you to also understand
A
too.
man
I
have to
don't
buy me a house
need
for me to shut
somebody
up.
to pay for me. If I get with somebody, it's because I want you, not because I need.
They don't even know.
That's
what
what
that
AMS
is.
said. AMS said he was going to set his daughter up so that she can get what she desires, not what she needs. He said it. Alpha male strategies. He said, I'm raising my daughter so she can get everything she desires and that she does not have to rely on a man. He said it.
And I
It should
agree.
be better for
I
a man
agree.
to be wanted
I
than to be
agree.
needed anyway.
But here's the thing. We
But
try to
women should not rely on a man for resources. That is true.
And most
That
of
is true.
us don't.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Joy. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, and most of us don't. A lot
Unfortunately,
of us
the ones that the women who typically have the resources, again, I said this last time, cannot turn off that male energy when they come to the house. Men don't care about your resources. We really don't. We care about you. We care about you being agreeable. We care about you being on our page. The who's the CEO of one of the prime companies that doesn't come to mind. She makes millions a year. But then when she comes to the household, the man is still in charge. Unfortunately, when women makes a lot of money, they start having these male attributes, which is unpleasing to a man. I go back to what I said yesterday, the other day, is that we do not want to fight with you in the home.
But then you're gonna fight with the girl that doesn't make any money. You're gonna fight with her in court over your alimony and your child support. Women who have their own are not going to fight with you. I don't care about your money. I have my own. Yes, you can have 50% of 50-50 custody. Yes, but you talking about masculine energy and whatever. I'm probably giving a whole lot of masculine energy to a lot of people out there right now. I don't really give a damn. But what I'm saying is this: you would rather go to this woman who has no resources and she's relying on you for the resources because you want to feel, I don't know, masculine at home, but you're masculine. You're a man. You were born that way. So I don't even know why a woman who can't tell you to do anything is, trying to emasculate. I don't know, right? But you rather go to her and then, she's agreeable, she's feminine, she all of these things that you say that you want,
She agreeable because she's being kidnapped.
And then on year 7, because y'all say year 7 is when everything's then
definitely
9 and all that other
5 to 7. Okay.
Whatever, 9, 5, whatever that year is, right? And now you sitting up here in court talking about she trying to take my kids away from me. She trying to get all my money because you a high value man. So you got all this money.
And they gonna be homeless. They homeless.
She had no job because you wanted her to be home, cooking and cleaning and doing whatever you needed that this feminine woman is giving you. And then you're upset when I'm telling you, you can have all of that you want and have a woman. We're telling women to take care of themselves so they don't have to rely on you, because in the end, if it doesn't work out, and God forbid it doesn't work out, I want marriages to work, they're not taking you to court. And even if they do try to take you to court and the judge puts your 100,000 up against her 100,000, he gonna say 50-50.
Unfortunately, that's not the way it worked. But to your point,
you know why you don't know? You know why you don't know? Because only 90% of them cases go to court anyway. That's why you don't know. Y'all don't even go to court, so you don't know what works.
Okay, first there is such a thing as mediation, so you don't have to go to court to handle the distribution of resources. That's
and
one.
90% of them cases don't even make it to court. They either get talked.
Mediation is not court.
Well,
so
that's what I'm saying. They don't even make it. 90% don't even go. They either in mediation, they work it out amongst themselves, they do whatever, and they don't. Right. Or the men just say, you know what, it's too much money. I don't even want to do it.
Okay. My point is that the system is rigged against the men. Now, back to your larger point, because you try to conflate a whole bunch of things in there to make a point. The household, okay? It is true. High value men do not care about typically do not care about a woman's salary, okay? Because if they figure they're going to have to pay for everything anyway. So that's kind of the way it is. Now, there is a way that a man can protect himself is with prenup. Have a prenup, have a situation in place that, hey, listen, should this marriage, which fails better than 50% of the time, should it fail, we're not trying to understand. We're trying to hang in there, but should it fail, then this is how we're going to. This is the game plan. Okay, so that's how a man protects himself, whether they're high value or not. Now, the wild card is what happens with the kids. Okay, because you cannot put in a prenup that I'm going to have X amount of exposure to the kids after we dissolve this situation. So again, I say and I stand by that men do not get a fair shake in the court of law when it goes to who maintains custody. It is by default that they think that women are a better custodial parent than a guy when it comes to the babies. And therefore, that's why the resources are not 50-50. Not 50-50. You can have 50-50 split of allocations and the man is still paying child support. It don't work that way.
So I'm gonna say this. I know that women who do have something of their own to lose in the game, they won't have a problem with a prenup either.
I will, baby. I'm giving you the prenup.
So prenup. What else? 50-50. Whatever kind of arrangement you want to make ahead of time. You can make it with a reasonable woman who can, understand that this is protection for everybody, right?
Yep.
But if you got, somebody who doesn't have any of their own things, and you bring prenup up to them, maybe they're gonna jump silly and just get all crazy and wild. You don't want to be with me, whatever's gonna happen. But I mean, we hear, we understand. We all in the same space.
Yep.
And that's really like what we're here to like kind of to let everybody see. Like there are even though we sassy, we don't listen. Mainly me, I don't listen. I don't listen. You gonna hear me? You gonna hear she don't listen. I don't listen. Okay. But I do listen.
Allen, I thought you was the agreeable one.
I am agreeable. I am agreeable. And to be honest, a lot of us we know what
now
to
the
do.
other two I don't know about, but you and I thought we was there. And man, you're breaking my heart.
We are.
But we are. We be agreeable with every man she comes across. Especially y'all around here knocking on people's doors asking for us.
And you know what? Y'all don't even listen to that agreeable stuff. That's not true either. How we think about real life versus, these internet conversations. In real life, people like to be with people who have their own opinion. Yeah. And, they may not agree on
the common sense expert here. Yes, sir. Prenup because you're not cashing me out.
We're not cashing you out.
That's right. Women want to cash us brothers out.
3 hard-headed women. The common sense expert.
What else they got going on?
You supposed to be one of us too. You from Louisiana. You up here.
He ain't clicked the link though. That was the thing.
You did not come up.
All right, ladies. I have to go, but look, as always, I enjoyed your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. You're always welcome. You know that.
Mm-hmm. All right. And like I said, men, prenup, protect yourself. It's not these ladies. They cool. But them 304s out there, you're going to have to watch them. You got to watch them.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you,
David.
Get you somebody
awesome. This was good. This was a good conversation.
Yes. Yeah, y'all want to try to wrap it up?
That's what they should be doing. Let me stop. Let's go. Let's wrap it up, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, any last thoughts? Did we get everybody's comments?
I think so. They pretty much in the chat. I think a lot of them agree with our original topic that we came in with. Yeah. The thing about Jason Whitlock, it kind of did come across like he was just saying what he needed to say to get some publicity. So I think after today, after this week, a couple more days, we won't even talk about this anymore because that was just irrelevant.
No, I mean, I definitely would love the conversation to continue. You guys, this was a great conversation. I think this is episode number 3, probably.
Yes.
I think this was the best one yet.
Yeah.
Good energy. Everybody had great opinions, well thought out positions. I want us to keep this conversation going in the comments. So, y'all, let us know, what is the solution to this baby mama, single mom culture? Who's to blame? Like, who started it? How are we gonna finish it? What can we do so we're not in situations where we got these young boys running around and moms not being blamed for adult bad behavior? So I think we'll catch up with y'all in another few days. I don't know what day of the week it is. What day is today?
Girl, we just taking it
Wednesday?
day by day.
So we'll try and catch up with you maybe Saturday. We'll see what happens. We don't know. But I hope y'all enjoyed us the way we enjoyed you. And we'll talk to y'all later.